Tankers, Captain Taito here for another episode of What Monthly. This May you can farm credits in Frontline, embrace the competitiveness of Onslaught, or simply check out the rewards you can pick up along the way. Let's get into things, shall we? Kicking things off, Onslaught season of the Jade Dragon is in full swing, running until the end of the month. If you're playing Onslaught, now is your time to push. This year's annual reward, the Ashbringer, is on the line, alongside progression rewards and the Bond Shop, with better discounts as your rank increases. Expect tough competition as you move up the ranks. The AMD OLS Season 6 is well underway, so tune in and check out the action on our official Twitch channel. Date shown here. And yes, there'll be OLS tokens for tuning in. All this builds towards the finals on May 30th and 31st. If you're planning to watch anything this month, make it the finals weekend. Be sure to spend those OLS tokens before June 8th, by the way. You don't want to lose them. Can't wait for the finals? The Onslaught Mega Platoon returns later this month, with the Killzone leading a team of 6 other content creators into battle. If you're up for the challenge, you can jump in and face them, or form a team of your own and try and take them down. Otherwise, tune in, enjoy the show, and earn some drops. Frontline returns from May 4th. If you need credits, this is your best opportunity this month. Load up your tier 8s and jump into large-scale battles where consistent performance pays off. And if you know of any friends who haven't played in 60 days or more, make sure they log in and claim their bonuses before May 7th. May brings the anniversary of Victory Day in Europe. You'll see special missions, discounts, and themed bundles, and importantly, there are credit discounts on researchable and collectible vehicles. The event is a good opportunity to pick up rewards while we take a moment to reflect upon the historical significance behind it. Starting May 15th, each weekend brings happy hours during prime time for the rest of the month, with missions for extra credits and experience. This month's Boosteroid content comes with a boxing theme, including a unique commander and themed customizations. There's also an updated tank roster for 6-month subscribers, so it's a good opportunity to step into the ring and check out what's new. And for something a little different, we couldn't bring a real mouse to the office, but First Legion have created 300 of these 1/30th scale of mouse boost and shift models, just the right size for your desk. So what's your plan for the month? Frontline for credits? Or Onslaught for competition? Thanks for watching, but for now, I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.
The final Onslaught season in the annual cycle will launch with some exciting new features. Now, during the countdown, each team can vote to ban one vehicle, which will become unavailable for all players on both teams. This gives you a chance to exclude the most dangerous enemy vehicle for you and its copies, or propose to ban the least useful vehicle from your own team. If your vehicle ends up banned, you'll have enough time to choose another one. You can learn all the details about this feature in the portal article. The airfield map has been fine-tuned to better suit the 7v7 format. Erlenberg and Safe Haven have also been adjusted a little. The Dravettes, Caro 45T, and Ares 90 have joined the list of vehicles available in Onslaught. The roll skill of the latter has been modified to support its unique firing mechanic. Available for free rental this season are the Object 140, Foch B, and T57 Heavy. The now rentable vehicles come with consumables, equipment, shells, and 4 perk crews. Only the shells and consumables can be changed. In addition, the 114 SP2 is now available for purchase starting from the Silver League, not the Gold. Remember that this launch concludes the Year of the Dragon. This is your chance to get the super rare Ashbringer. Hello, Commanders! With Update 2.2.1, the World of Tanks Plus subscription will include an exclusive Tier 9 premium tank with a unique historical 2D style. As before, World of Tanks Plus will have 2 tiers, the basic core tier and the expanded Pro one with special bonuses and improvements. World of Tanks Plus Core is the regular subscription that keeps all the best stuff, permanent account progression bonuses, pre-battle preparation tools, and an exclusive package for comfortable play, including the premium TS-54 tank. World of Tanks Plus Pro will suit the most active players and unlock all new opportunities for them. One of the subscription's main features is Pro Boost. With this bonus, your vehicle will get you 35% more credits and XP for every battle. Play your favorite tank and enjoy the game without worrying about going into the red. Simply activate Pro Boost in the garage for any researchable or collector's vehicle from Tier 1 through 10. And if you want to change tack, you can switch the bonus to a different vehicle once every 12 hours. World of Tanks Plus Pro subscribers will be able to customize their service record. The new service record customization system will let you highlight your stats and rating with exclusive designs and transform the screen to your liking. Your individuality and combat achievements will be appreciated by everyone who views your profile. Another key feature is Battle Pass Plus. With it, Battle Pass progression will be faster. You'll get extra points for battles depending on the game mode. The bonus activates when the Battle Pass season starts and remains valid until it ends. It also applies to the Elite Circuit. Good news for keen players who finish the chapters fast. With the update release, both tiers will receive a shared bonus in the form of a new exclusive Tier 9 Premium Medium tank. It will be available in every subscription option. Born under the scorching Spanish sun, the Leox combines the chassis of the Leopard 1 and the turret of the AMX-30E. The Leox is a sniper tank for second-line play. The accuracy and rate of fire will let you methodically pick apart targets at range. While high mobility will help you escape fire and reposition in time. In addition to the tank, both tiers will include a shared unique historical 2D style, which will remain on your account even after the subscription ends. Core offers the familiar classic format, while Pro is designed for those who strive for maximum efficiency in every battle. Unlock your full potential with World of Tanks Plus.
Heart of a lion, will of a champion. Ain't even trying, just get 'em amped up. If you got a problem, I'm the answer. Stand up, everybody hands up. I'm unstoppable, I ain't gonna stop till I I'm unstoppable. All I do is win, yeah, I'm unstoppable.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision. AMD. Together, we advance.
Hello gamers and welcome to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series League Season 6. Joined here today by Banter. I hope you're excited, Banter, because we're going to be starting it off with an absolute banger of a match. It will be Cashback versus Mafia to start it off with, which will be absolutely incredible looking at it. That will be a battle for the top of the chart.
Yeah, apologies, my sound wasn't working there.
I noticed.
Yeah, I wasn't hearing you were just talking.
I said we're starting with a banger with Cashback and Mafia. That was the TLDR.
I mean, it's me and you. I mean, we always get the bangers, right? And then we give the rest of the games to Keyhand and the other casters. But yeah, it's a really good one today. I mean, Mafia, they started strong until they hit and run yesterday. In the last play day, sorry, they got absolutely owned by hit and run. And Cashback they were decently consistent in the beginning, but they've been struggling a little bit in the last few playdays.
Yeah, so far not doing that hot, the side of Cashback. But then OLS prize pool, 46,121 euros. You can still boost that prize pool. Of course, the bundles, which we're going to talk about in just a second. 100% of the proceedings going towards the prize pool at hand. And of course, that Oracle bundle netting you that upgraded badge and style as well if you do end up predicting the correct team. Do not worry, however, the Oracle bundle is still going to be available for a little while longer, until basically the playoffs start. I would also not know who to support right now, to be honest. It's still anybody's game.
Have you not bought the Lotus bundle yet?
No, I have not bought the Lotus bundle yet, actually.
I have, I believe. Listen, any day now. Go into the moon.
Any day? Yeah, well, Banter seems to be simple. It's very straightforward. 5 tokens today, available until 1 AM European time. And then you can spend those on the token store. Of course, where the E75 TS is the main reward. But of course, if you already have an E75 TS, or you join us a little bit late, or you just feel like getting the Scorpion in SU, some styles, premium day, consumables, or personal reserves, that is also still a possibility.
Yeah, no Poodle this time, but that SG100Y packs a punch, and E75 TS is a really nice tank, actually. It's almost like a medium with a bit of armor, like decent speed, decent DPM. The hull is quite well armored, so listen, it's completely for free, right? So you might as well get it.
And of course, looking at the standings, Hit and Run surprisingly in the first place position. I don't think anybody would have really signed up for them to do that well in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they didn't performed that well in the first play day, but since then they've been solid. Obviously, they fought a weaker opponent. Well, I say weaker opponent, I'm just looking at the list. They fought CTR, Cashback, and Mafia. Those are some decently strong opponents, so they're doing really well. Weekend, the pick that I think are even more surprising considering last season they've performed incredibly well, actually, and the deserved second place. Cashback in third, Mafia looks so strong in the previous play days until yesterday, but looking at the bottom of the list, it's not looking that great for W at the moment.
Yeah, no, they are not that hot, but of course when we look down, I mean, Sicario, CTR, Lotus, NW, they're fighting for those top 6 positions right now. Anybody's game at this point in time. I mean, one win here or there, and Lotus is literally back in it as well. The round difference for them is not great, but the possibilities could be there. I mean, you never know what happens on that bottom half of the leaderboard, right?
Yeah, very true. And I mean, CTR, their position looks a lot worse than they are, because they fought a lot of the very good opponents. I think they fought they fought Weekend, Cashback, and Hit and Run, I think, if my memory serves. So they've had most of their opponents, and they're going to want to be picking up points later down the line today against Sicarios, but also in the next play day is against Lotus as well. So they want to be picking up points there as well. And even the match day after that, they're having W. From what we've seen so far, W seemed like the the highest likely of the top 4 teams to drop some points to the lower 4 teams.
Of course, but they could still get into the season as well. They're going to have a matchup against Lotus later on, then Hit versus against Cigaris versus CTR, all matchups where you would say every team kind of has a chance, I think it's fair to say. A lot of that mid-table standings could be shaken up after this, but yeah, Mafia versus Cashback. Cashback normally very dominant in the regular season. So far, not that great.
Yeah, not to the normal level, but not horrific either. I mean, the performances they've had are not that bad. There's no, like, concerning ones, like Mafia against Hit and Run. Mafia against Hit and Run, that was a concerning one for Mafia, how meekly they rolled over and kind of submitted to their Polish other half. But we'll need to see if, because Mafia coming into this match wanting to instill some confidence, because they started the season so well, but that result yesterday, it's shaking, you know, because it's the Polish derby. You want to try hard.
For sure. I mean, this is also, you know, a thing between those two. You always had that rivalry, and everyone just walked away with it. Cashback in return, you know, they're banded back up to basically the original core that they had, and now they got to make this work, right? This is the best Ukrainian team you could field because they always have the pick of the litter in terms of who they want to add, since they're the top dog. And now they really got to make that come true for them as well. And so far, maybe a little bit of bonding issues, but that could still change. We're still kind of early in the season. Barbarian, of course, highlight player, always very, very high performance coming out from that man.
Yeah, the in-game leader. I mean, we saw in the last season it was Little who was taking the reins, and he was also the highest on damage. Barbarian now, I think he's also the highest on average damage in this season. Obviously, he's playing D4, the Fosh B. These are meant to be the high damage TDs, but you know, that kind of lead from the front leadership, it's very valuable. It's not like my style where it's you know, you die and then you can lead better once you're dead.
Well, thinking about it, he's gonna have to do a big game here to take down Mafia, a team. Maybe Cashback's style fits Mafia a bit more. You know, it is going to be a slower kind of game against Hit and Run. They kind of got run over. Community prediction slightly favoring Mafia, 53 versus 47%. So maybe the style that Cashback plays, it will be more favorable for Mafia. Cashback not really known for their super all-out aggression.
Yeah, I think the maps are going to be quite telling to see the pick and ban, so we'll see it here. Cliff being banned, Pilsen being chosen by Mafia. Didn't even need to see the teams to know that they choose it. It's one of their favorites. Cashback bans Ghost Town, chooses Ensk. Ensk tends to be quite a high player skill map because it's so small. There's a lot of lanes, it's a lot of side scraping, peeking, and positional play. So I think that will go into Cashback's favor with their high player skill lineup, and a tiebreaker of Himmelsdorf. I think that could go either way.
It could indeed go either way. I'm inclined to agree on that one. Now, maps. Yeah, we talked about it. Pilsen, Ensk. Pilsen is such a highly played map this season. I feel like we have it every single match almost.
Yeah, we do. I'm not. I've seen enough Pilsen for a lifetime this season already. I want to be seeing more Cliffs and Himmelsdorfs, but it's a map that they're really strong on. So they obviously want to pick it every single time. It's quite an interesting map just because of the positions. It looks open, but it's kind of not because of those coal piles. It requires a lot of precise timing and positional gameplay that the kind of Mafia Hit and Run they're well known for. But looking at the predictions here, all of us going 3-2 with Phil going for that 3-1 scoreline. He is winning at the moment by one singular point. And I know you don't care, obviously, but you are below sign-ups at this point. How do you feel?
Indifferent. Yeah, absolutely indifferent, to be honest. Phil going for 3-1. Yeah, but we all agreed that Mafia's going to win, though. That's the interesting part here. Like, the fact that we all think that Mafia's going to win while the community prediction is split 50-50. Either we know something they don't, or they know something we don't.
Yeah, but most of us except Phil have chosen quite a close scoreline. The thing is that I think before the previous play day, we had a bit more of an idea. But in the last play day, with Mafia performing so poorly, it kind of throws it away. I would have gone with a 3-1 scoreline before yesterday. But with that poor performance by Mafia, I think it's it means you don't really know. Like, to be honest, this season, most of the teams have been pretty inconsistent. I've seen no fully star performers, so I don't really know. I don't really have a favorite for the entire season, let alone this match just yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in a best of 5, a lot of things can still happen. Could go either way. Hard to predict just exactly where this will go. But like I said, I think this kind of matchup suits Mafia a little bit more than the hit and run match, where, you know, they end up getting rolled over very quickly. Cashback will not be playing like that, most likely.
Yeah, really, in a perfect world, we'd be able to see the win rate over all the seasons between Mafia and Hit and Run to see. But either way, we have to go into this one. Rheinmetall Panzerwagen being banned by Mafia, EBR by Cashback. Interesting, both teams banning the lights. That's pretty telling.
Yeah. I mean, both don't want to play with an RHM or an EBR. Mafia, of course, knows they have Liberty, and Cashback knows that they have Kono on the other side. So, things to be afraid of. So, we end up in this battle where Liberty's in the T100. T100, not a bad light, but of course, at the same time, it's not really such a high damage dealer either.
Yeah, I've been playing it a lot in Random Onslaught. My opinion of it has increased, but it really struggles in fights, that low DPM. Another thing to look at is Proof in that K91. Airstrike, the K91's ability being buffed in the most recent iteration of Onslaught now starts with the ability, which means more decaps able to be done with those strikes. He has binos as well, so he's going to have that extra view range. But double K91 on the Cashback side. K91, a pretty awkward tank with the rear turret with such high DPM.
Extremely high DPM. I mean, Profuse is also playing there with the binoculars activated, and Squeezy is the one to feel the pain because of that as well. Profuse with his favorite equipment, the binoculars, and it actually pays off.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. Using the binos to spot out Squeezy. Obviously, maximum view range being 445, but it always lowers camo rating. And those bomb binos, he's probably got about at least 550 meters view range. So Squeezy's going to have minimal camo on that crossing. And, you know, it's a kind of Trojan horse strat. It only works once, but it works to great effect. But if that damage was on something like a 430U or a Foch, it'd be much more useful than a K91, because the K91 can always retreat to the back line and snipe with its good camo rating and accurate gun. So, not decisive, but very nice damage nonetheless.
I mean, Squeeze is going to have to play very carefully now on his 1049 HP, but yeah, he's not dead just yet. But Mafia in return pushing up the 2-line, Yuzek taking some damage, Kono taking some damage as well at 50B, seemingly losing about 1,000, and now Barbarian and Mindbreaker starting to push down 0-line. The T100 of Liberty does take the strike, but will be able to take the info at some point. They can't really keep denying him, and Kono now taking a shot from Aphrodite, so Cashback doing a very good job at doing damage.
Yeah, doing a good job of doing damage. Mafia bled a bit on a few tanks. That 50B losing HP is quite important, because obviously you want your clippers very healthy. Cashback progressing down this one line, and Barkis is very exposed, only with Proof covering him. And if these double Foshes bounce on Barkis will go down very quickly, and those Foshes will be able to heal a lot of that back. So I think, obviously, we can see it because we're the observers, but if they did decide to pounce on Barkis, that would be probably a very positive net trade.
I mean, Rexar is solo capping, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of mini strikes available on the Cashback side. Squeezy, little, have a strike. Liberty has a big strike as well. He might even opt to use the big strike at some point. It's a small strike actually to decamp Rexar. Liberty does not get a replay out of that. The big strike in the east is back up though, so Liberty could opt to use his strike to then retake that one. And he did end up doing that, so it is a crucial advantage, but now I'm starting to feel like they're doing a little bit worse.
Yeah, obviously it's a lot better to get Squeezy down to low HP. The damage is very spread on the Mafia side, but I think obviously some of it's on the type, some of it's on the K91, that's a bit backline. I think the damage on Orzic and Kono is a bit more important. Yuzek takes another one. But yeah, they do need to stop bleeding, and this kind of, it is double cap now, but Cashback do still have that strike on Liberty, and Squeezy also has a level 2 strike, so pretty big circle radius on that one. Another shot into Orzic. Mafia bleeding a lot more than we would have normally expected.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Cashback is doing a very good job at dealing damage towards the Mafia side, even though Mafia got that initial advantage with the damage on towards Squeezy. But now the cap is back on. Like you see Barbarian, Mindbreaker coming back in with their Fush Beast. They want to pick up Orchek, but how much explodes? Absolutely unnecessary play there. They really felt like they had to do something with these Fush Beasts, and what do? Barbarian is dead.
Yeah, and it's not just that. He dies for nothing. There's no, you know, if you lose a tank on one side, it means you have to normally do a reaction on the other side. Otherwise, you know, how to word it. It's action and reaction, but there is no reaction from Cashback, and now 6,000 HP down. Mindbreaker takes another, and he's not healing that one back. It's almost 7,000 HP disadvantage now for Cashback. And so well, and then now Liberty pushing onto Barkis. That's not an engagement he can win because he just doesn't have the DPM for that one. The K91 of Squeezy's only on 600 HP and far back, and all this time the cap is going on. Rexar does get decapped. And from bad to worse for Mafia, the bleed is insane.
No, this game is done and dusted, to be honest. Double the HP for Mafia. Yes, Cashback has 6 tanks left alive, but those are going to start falling very, very quickly like dominoes because they're all so low at this point. And it's a one shot. All the rest of them are below half HP. Profuse is going to come in, finish off Squeezy. The job he started earlier now is going to be completed. Aphrodite goes down. Aka to follow, and it's just over at this point. Set up the crossfire at least, but it was Cashback that drove into it.
Yeah, this is a concerning one, to be honest. I'm concerned for our predictions because, you know, you lose, but sometimes it's the way you lose. And, you know, they take all that damage in the beginning on Squeezy, it's not really decisive, and they bleed Mafia really well, but then it just collapses, and this is not close. It's 7-0 with an 8k advantage in HP. As I said, sometimes you lose, but sometimes it's how you lose. And Cashback lost in a bad way here.
Yeah, this was not a pretty round, to put it that way, for Cashback. I mean, not sure how Barbarian and Mindbreaker thought that would go, but yeah.
Yeah, not the best. And you spoke about it before in the last play day. They take IRM, sorry, for the faster turning speed, because Foch is very awkward when turning corners, and in this kind of factory hangar, there's a lot of corners there, so it's very awkward for them to play. But look at that Barbarian with 0. That's not good.
Yeah, for a man that has nearly 4k average, it's pretty bad when he ends up doing 0, you know? But kudos to Mafia, though. Like I said, I feel like, honestly, this Cashback slower style suits Mafia really, really well, in a way. Because I think they prefer playing against it altogether as well. They had the great opening in the beginning with Profuse. You can see the assist damage as well. And afterwards, their trades were a little lackluster, I think it's fair to say. But, you know, maybe they put just the right amount of pressure to make Cashback kind of lose the plot there for a second.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the accuracy as well, right? Mafia with 95% and Cashback with 71. Yuzek, 2.5k block damage. Every member of Mafia's team has a block shot, apart from the 50B that's mostly made of paper. It's not a good look for Cashback. It really isn't. It's, again, right, we're the commentators, we're the casters. We watch these games intently, and we see the little micro plays, and we can see this was a bad loss for Cashback, and it doesn't look good. Sometimes you can lose, but you lose in a way that doesn't look bad, and it instills kind of confidence in us when we make the predictions, when we talk about them while casting. But this is not a good look for Cashback, rolling over this meekly against the Mafia side that didn't do anything really special. They applied cap pressure with 1E4, and obviously they were taking the double strike, so Cashback kind of felt they had to do something, but this just wasn't good.
No, this wasn't good, and this time around it seems like we get the same bans, EBR and RHM being banned, Liberty back on the T100, but look at this Mafia lineup, the amount of fortitude to use, 4 of them.
Yeah, it's like a Lotus lineup, kind of. Profus opting for the binos yet again. Quite a surprise for that one on a 140. 140 tends to be a very mobile tank. You always want to be shooting and moving, but personal preference on the cash. 101 type, triple Fosh B and T100. It is interesting that they're sticking with these Foshes. I've started to have a feeling that Fosh is going to kind of fall out of favor a little bit, but Cashback's still sticking with them.
For now, they could change up. Yeah, the 430U's moving towards the east. Profus, he had those binos again, right? So he is going to be setting that one up, but will not be able to spot out the T100 who sneaks across. And now the 430U's maybe pushing down the center of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Profus tries to do the same thing twice, but these 430s are unspotted for now. Kono does get spotted, Yuzek, Rexa, all three of them now spotted. So the jig is up, and there's no one they can really pounce on, no one close. Aka's the closest, but he's behind that building. And Mafia are going to need to adjust pretty quickly if they want to make this work, because right now they're driving into a crossfire.
They're setting up and just holding down the lane in that regard, and that seems to be quite alright for Cashback. In the meantime, though, Conrad, Barkis, Rexar, Kono, they're pushing on towards the 1, 2, 3, 4 line. Can they find something there? There's another Forge B waiting, though, in position. They're trying to swarm now. Mafia trying to play the fight. Minus 2k. Mindbreaker is in trouble, but these Forge Bs are having a field day so far.
Yeah, but the Foshes are now on reload, so even though that initial HP bleed, there is going to be they will find Mindbreaker in the 100. They will, with almost certainty, find Barbarian before he reloads, but he is pretty close on that one. Profus doesn't connect it. Barkis needs to connect it. Part of his reload off, and that's going to be really important. Aka has backed away, so he's more safe, but I think he's in a bit of crossfire from Yuzek there. Barbarian is loaded. He should get off his entire clip, because it really hurts into Barkis. That BZ, obviously, I think Barbarian would prefer to be shooting those 430s, but does get Barkis down to low HP. To rushes. They're now off their reload. They might be able to snipe some damage here. They are shooting at Barkis right now.
And Barkis Profus just hiding behind that building for dear life, trying to stay alive, but they gotta be careful. You know, Liberty's taking back another information tower. The strike will come up at some point, and I think right now Mafia is the one that is on a little bit of a timer, right? The longer this game goes on, the more impactful that light will come and its ability to go really anywhere across the map.
Yeah, Kono on this crossing takes just yet. Profus goes the back way, but the thing is, at this point, they're kind of forced to put it on triple cap pressure. Obviously, it's double full HP Fosh on the Cashback side. So that's a lot of burst potential. They need to kind of speed this game up if they want, because the longer it goes on for, the higher chance that Cashback are going to get these strikes in the middle and on the field. Aka takes a little bit of damage there on that crossing.
I think Little takes it on time. No, Little doesn't take it on time. You'll have to go body block in that Forge B. He's doing it as well, and that will halt the cap attempt with Aphrodite then in the meantime going towards that strike. And now, how does Mafia react? Because that will be a double strike for Cashback pretty soon.
Yeah, and they're up to abandon it, which I think is the right play here. But if they go on this side, them far more than, or far sooner than Mafia would spot him, and he's running as well to take that strike. Barkis goes down to Squeezy in the Fosh. He made the repush, took no damage for that as well. So we have gun parity now. Orzic and Rexar, they are trying to peek on Little, and they do have a little bit of a hold down, which forces Little to go forward. And bear in mind, Little's ability is almost up. Conrad opted to fire before the ability went down. Not sure about that one, but Little has shot one shot. He is healing back now. In these corners.
He's in trouble right now. He's gonna get peeked by Conrad, Rexar, and Orchek. If they all hit their shots, he's basically dead, and that happens. Rexar takes a lot though, and there comes the Arsenal. 1, 2, goodbye Rexar. Squeezy then coming in from behind as well, finding a little bit of an angle again. Yeah, but Cashback regains control once more.
Yeah, I'm debating internally if that was a good trade. Definitely not on HP, but I think trading 1 BZ for a full HP Fosh is worth it in that scenario. Bear in mind, Cashback may be up on HP by a lot, but a lot of that's on the T100, which has quite low penetration and very
Ooh.
Conrad here, he thought Squeezy was on reload. Squeezy puts one into the house, but should pick it up here. He does. Armor's not great. Prufus opts to run. He thinks Squeezy's on reload, but Squeezy isn't. So now Squeezy puts 2 more in on reload. But if Squeezy pops ability, not sure Prufus makes the kill here. With Strike, he should, and Kono coming in from behind.
Kono comes in, finds the kill, so Squeezy goes down. So they're 3-on-3, but now another strike being taken, and that is usually on doom here, because Perfuse is down towards a one-shot, and Orchek needs to run away. It takes 1 from Liberty. Aphrodite did end up missing his, but with that strike on the east being available, Liberty, all he needs to do is go collect that one, and Kono and Perfuse, they're in trouble here, because if you think about it this way, one of them has to die, and Orchek, kind of takes a very long time to decide on how to do it, and Perfuse will fall against Aka. Liberty kill Aka right now. He's gonna go for it, he's gonna try, but it's gonna be difficult, and Orchek missing Aphrodite, Aphrodite missing Orchek, Kono missing Aka, and all this time, Liberty just taking the strike. Normally speaking, Kono wants to try and trade it out here as well, but is unable to.
Yeah, Ozzy opts to run, but he is spotted on that one. We need to see Strike placed. I'm not sure if that's going to hit him, actually. It misses, so Strike does not connect. Kono wins the 1v1, which he was kind of like. Really nice by Kono, and bear in mind, Kono is not a one-shot for that Strike. Aphrodite opts to run. Kono could hit a timing here. Plane used. No strike. That's just for information. Puts the plane onto Kono, so they know where Kono's going. And Aphrodite's going to take this mid-strike. It's playable for both teams. It really is. Even with Liberty on such high HP, just because of the way that... how awkward that T100 is.
That is not dead. He survives yet again. Another dodge, and Kono finds Liberty a little bit, and Orchek has him from an alternative angle as well. And now it's a little bit of trouble for the side of Cashback. Liberty wants to get out. He takes 1 more. Kono actually misses, but Liberty forced out in the open. Orchek dies against Aphrodite. A good peek. Kono now, can he find the kill? He can. He doesn't even take a shot from Liberty, and it's 1-on-1, and Kono actually has the advantage. Needs to just peek this at this point in time. Aphrodite with a good side scrape, but Kono finds the angle on the side, and somehow Mafia ends up winning it. This was a daylight robbery. They played it out well, nonetheless, but that should never ever even get close again.
Yeah. I'm just replaying the round in my mind. The double strike missing by Liberty. I know. Kono dodged 2 strikes there at the end, so small mistakes by Liberty, but this really was Cashback's game. And as I've said, you know, in the first round, it's the way you lose. In the second round, it's also the way you lose. And this was not good. Considering what Mafia did, they drove into a crossfire, they took 2 Foch B clips, then another Foch B clip. And of course, at that time, Mafia is focusing out the 100 and the Foch of Barbarian, but Barbarian got off both his clips. This really shouldn't have been losable for Cashback. They had every advantage going for them.
For sure. And then in the end, even then, like, you know, if you think about it, the way that it ended there, you know, strikes missing, Liberty getting caught in the open by double 4 to the U. I think there was 2 strike misses in total, right? Yeah,
there were. Liberty missed both. And the thing is as well, if you guys are thinking, why didn't Liberty just go for the 318 HP 430? I can't remember which one it was. The T100's alpha is only 300, so you wouldn't be able to kill him in one shot. But yeah, there was just a lot of... there was a lot going on in that round. There was like 14 different engagements that were kind of 1v1s, 2v1s, 2v2s. That just kept happening all over the map. So it was a super interesting round on a tactical and individual gameplay perspective. But pretty wild, to be honest.
Shouldn't really never end up going the way that it did.
No, it shouldn't. With that much HP advantage, I don't know why Liberty goes so close.
Yeah, I honestly could not tell you.
With the plane as well, they knew where Orzic was going. He was on 500 HP, they knew it.
I could not tell you. I honestly could not tell you. That's the thing.
And as well with Lidl and the Foch in the cap. like how quickly he just got deleted, just being in such a poor position and being so poorly covered by the rest of his team.
I mean,
Like,
at least
they
there
just
they
lost
had
the
the double.
flush.
They had the double strike though. That kind of made it.
I know
all
that
even.
it equaled it out, but if there was no double strike, even then, I think what a full HP Fosh for a BZ and maybe 1,000 HP off a 430U, I take that trade. That was a full HP Fosh.
Well, on to ends though. It's going to be in a very interesting lineup yet again from Mafia. Look at that amount of Bliskavitzes. It's 4 of them, a 140, a BZ, and a Fosh B.
Yeah, on the cash. We've started seeing these mouses when types are banned, and 1BZ, double mouse, 140, triple Fosh. Again, with these Foshes against Bliskavitzes. I have started to think, I've had some thoughts in the regular season. I felt like we'd be seeing more K91s. We are. And I really feel Fosh should be being taken less. Sticking with it here, so it's going to be Foshes versus Bliskavitzes, and Mafia. That's an aggressive lineup right there, and they're going straight for Cashback's face if it looks right.
Yep, they will find double mouse on that part of the map though. Bliskavitzes have a lot of DPM, so I mean, mouse is not really a bad target for them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they have the highest DPM in the game on close range, something above 5,000. So, in theory, Aphrodite and Mindbreaker should go down very quickly. Kono leading the charge, and bear in mind, they're all unspotted. I don't think they've destroyed many buildings or anything like that. I think Barbarian and Little and those Foshes, they started turning, but now they've turned again, and they're going into the city. Plane taken, so there's going to be info in a moment, and they're going to know these mouses off of free. This could be over real quick.
I mean, they spot it out now. They have to go. They see it. Yuzek will just drive in. He's the BZ. He's supposed to take the damage. Mindbreaker's going to be the first one to get focused in the mouse. He's dead already. Conrad should hit this one. Yuzek blocking a little bit, but Conrad does not end up missing it. Rexar to pick it up. That's one down, and now Cashback trying to get back in. Yuzek sitting a little bit in the open for the Forge Bees, but there's already one dead mouse. That's a good strike, to be honest. Hitting on 2, could have been 3, but it's -1 tank already from Cashback. -1 of the mouses, and now they still have to face the music here on this. Be sitting out in the open, and the Aphrodite is not in safety quite yet. Rexar gets the first. Orchek looking for the finish, but instead he's actually going to go past, and it's going to be Kono to pick it up, and Mafia is now just going to roll like a sledgehammer through this wall. That is Cashback. Absolutely no problem bringing it down. It's going to be a very, very harsh 3-0, to be honest, where Mafia gets it all, and Cashback, really, this is going to be
in such a fashion. This, back in the day, like maybe 10 years ago, do you remember we used to play T57 instead of 50Bs because the reload was quicker? The thing about Fosh is Fosh has such good burst, but that long reload is so long. And they did their clips here, and I just knew Mafia weren't going to stop, because why would you stop? The Foshes are on reload. You just go straight for the mouses, and you keep the pain train rolling while these Foshes are on reload. And it's not it. Normally Cashback that get picked later on by other teams because they kind of normally see things that other teams aren't seeing, but these Foshes are simply not it. And I said it in the first round, I said it in the second. Sometimes it's not that you lose, it's how you lose, and this was not even close. This was like Mafia yesterday against Hit. This was one-sided boys to men. Back to the drawing board.
It was a really tough matchup for them, and well, Mafia takes all 3 points. I would say, but this round, they play the odds, and I think they were very happy to see double mouse waiting.
I mean, it was literally the perfect scenario, right? They have 6 tanks stacked on that corner, and then the info comes in. Oh, double mouse, and the Foshes are miles away. Nice, free real estate. Mindbreaker only doing 1 shot, and that was against a Blisker with ability, so he doesn't even get the full damage. Aphrodite gets 2, but it's not much better. And yeah, the rest of them, the Foshes, they all might have gotten off more than 1 clip, but it doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things if everyone else is dead.
No, it
doesn't.
I mean, the one mouse dies, and the second one tries to make it out, but he gets stuck in a not such a great rail. They could always go back and just kill him from behind, right? So it's like, no matter what happens, you're -2 tanks. I think that's
exactly.
That's the outcome nonetheless.
Yeah, it's lost on opening. And it's simply that Mafia's opening counters Cashbacks, right? This is the perfect scenario for Cashback. You couldn't, for Mafia, sorry, you couldn't plan it any better. double mouse on your side of the map where you have 7 tanks isolated. And obviously, you know, in an ideal world, they're mouses. They should survive longer than this, but it's like 5 Bliskowitzes. They're not surviving that.
No, indeed. Well, that was a very quick match of the day, I would say, because I thought the Mafia versus Cashback was the match of the day, in terms of evenly being matched up in that regard. And it didn't end up being. That's the danger of a best of 5, right? You end up throwing one round away, and then before you know it, it's 3-0, and Mafia shows us just how quickly it goes. That was match number 1. We have 2 more coming your way, as I have a very needy kitty. We will see you guys right after some replays.
W just continuing through. I don't think he's making it. That's going to be a lot of DPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. He's going to disappear. Pretty bad for Cashback. He's dead. They are doing damage, but they're not stopping the strain of W tanks pushing forward. He's a one-shot Itox with one more kill. They can't really do anything. Hit and run seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W.
Hello gamers and welcome back to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series League Season 6. We've replaced Banter for a worst prediction master called Kian. Hey Kian, how you doing?
Oh, I mean, you were the one to bring it up, right?
You would have mentioned something about it anyways because you were at rock bottom the entire last season and you're just happy that somebody else is drowning instead of you.
Well, let's just say that is not a completely unfounded opinion. Anyway, though, upcoming match, W versus Lotus. I think a clear favorite cut out with the team of W that ended up actually with an upwards trend. They didn't start the season so well, I would say, but Playday 3 was okay for them. And for Lotus, I mean, dire straits.
Dire straits, but they've been in that strait before, you know?
So you're saying at least they have experience with the situation?
It's not an unfamiliar feeling. It's
yeah,
you know,
probably doesn't make it better, to be honest, for them.
Sure. But it you know, it cannot get worse, you know? It's already been that bad.
I guess that's the silver lining. Like, if you're at the very bottom of the table, then at least it can't get worse. But we'll see. First of all, W. Standout player, iOS 3.3k DPG. I believe now we have the stats from this season, from the past three playdays. So, yeah, KD 1.4 as well. He's kind of a standout player for his team, playing those Soviet mediums mostly. 140, K91. Yes, they're both Soviet mediums, but they play completely differently.
For sure. Now, W hasn't been doing, like, we're talking about Lotus, but W hasn't been that hot either, Kian.
No. Although the prediction kind of crazy. 96% for W. Then again, with Lotus's performance so far, I can kind of see where it's coming from, but it's still very, very harsh.
Yeah, I think with the way that W is playing, there is an opportunity here for Lotus to do something, right? First map is going to be Cliff. No Pilsen, Kian. The big surprise.
Yeah, we will have Cliff into Himmels, into Sand River. So, pretty iconic maps that are going to get played. I mean, W's Cliff pick, I see where it's coming from. They just want to win on reactions and player skill. And for Lotus, Himmelsdorf, it can be a very, very technical map to play it. So, let's see if Lotus are able to withstand whatever W is going to throw their way, because realistically, I don't think W is going to play passively here. Instead, they will probably try and dominate the games immediately just to snatch up a quick 3 points that they are probably planning with.
I mean, for W, you need a clean 3 points here, right? I think that is the order of business, and anything but like a dominating performance from them would just raise more question marks, to be honest. So we need to really, really see them come out strong, look like the W of old, because if not, you could start wondering what is really happening, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, for Lotus, for them, it's just about realistically getting anything from this at all. Not getting clean sweep, maybe getting 1 point, if possible 2, but it'll be definitely a reach.
If Lotus was to take the full 3 points here, that would be amazing for them, because it would put them on the same amount of points as W, which is exactly why, you know, that bottom 4 is very undecided. You have your idea of who should pull away with it, but if W keeps on the performance they've done so far, they're not going to run away with anything except for disappointment from the fans.
Well, let's see what's going to happen, because I think we're just about to load into the first round of the match here. It will be on Cliff, as I said, so there, once again, the question is going to be, is either team going to ban the BZ? I think this is the most prominent ban option, and after that, stuff like CS, for example, RHM, 430Us, all of those are options that are on the table, but of course it's up to the teams to decide. So let's see where we are going to go with this, as Lotus bans the BZ and so does W. That makes it pretty straightforward for either team. Lotus coming in with the triple 50B, double Dravets, and double CS.
In return, W, RHM, double CS, a bat, and triple 50B. So Lotus has that extra firepower, but W could have that information, right?
Yep. Let's see how this one goes. I mean, keep in mind the CS with the mini strike is able to generate information by itself just by going into arti-strike mode and checking if anything gets destroyed. I think on Cliff that can be particularly useful, as there's a lot of stuff that you have to drive over in order to actually get to where you need and want to be.
What does the plane get in the beginning is nothing. One CS, sorry. Do as Jordan is moving towards the rock. So-called Twist and Tuka are going to be covering. Jordan does reveal the 50Bs waiting from W. Now the CS is crossing with the RHM. So W has some sort of a crossfire setup. Mental speaking to reset will not be able to do it. Will take 2 to the face for that. And now, though, Jordan revealed everything. And that is going to be Lotus crossing from the top with double Dravets and a CS in crossfire. I would say that they have the better tanks for this.
I would say so as well, because a Dravets rushing an RHM is never going to be a fun time for the RHM, as Klurf gets found. He is shot by basically everyone. He tries to make it to the crossfire position, tracked once, tracked twice, and that means he's not going to make it. The double 50B from W in the meantime, coming in through the lower side, but Twist and Tuka immediately repushing as well. However, the Dravets, they have paid dearly, and Borchons goes down.
Paul pushing as well. I also in a good crossfire. Lukin pushing around the corner, and the Dravets is maybe went a little bit too aggro on that part, because Itox and his secondary CS are going to be killing it. That was Ios to pick it up, and now Nepal trying to drive through with the 50B, trying to get Twist, but it seems like Nepal's actually disconnected, sadly for him. Too late into the round to do anything about it. This kind of stuff just happens. W may have gotten the top part in their favor, but the HP is horrible. Mental's dead, Nepal dead as well. They're still playing from the top, and Ios might even get Tuka with a little bit of luck, but Darkstick facing off against Lukin. Lukin cannot win that. Jordan, so-called Twist, they're all starting to repush. And the first round here, where W wanted to look strong, is not going to be going their way. It's going to look wrong, as Lotus will come into Cliff, picking up the very first round.
Yeah, I think the problem for W here, besides the timeout, of course, was that it felt like Lotus just had the better tanks for the engagement. That double Dravets able to soak up a lot of shots, able to really put the hurt onto the RHM that I guess didn't see them in time. But yeah, Lotus coming into the match, putting the first round on the board, and this is once again a problem if you're a W fan, because W this season, this time around, they've not looked very stable so far. And once again, you have to allow the question, like, in which state this team is currently.
Whatever state they were in, you know, this round is not going to be helping them. Piotr moved back into the lineup as well, so that was an interesting move, right, to see. He was playing, I think he's taking Brainbreaker's spot, right? I think it was Brainbreaker that didn't play, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, Lotus is going to be winning the first round, man. They can do this again on Cliff. You know, Cliff is the kind of map where you really could take 2 rounds, to be honest. Any team could, given the right day, to be honest.
And we can see here the damage numbers, I think, for Lotus exactly going how they wanted it to. With really the CS tanks as well as the 50Bs coming in with damage and the Dravtsi. To be honest, all they did was just tank the damage, which is kind of what, you know, those heavy tanks are supposed to do at times. A lot of teams use BZs for that, but as we can see, BZ was banned. So Dravets, I guess, next best thing when it comes to this.
Indeed. So, looking at it, unbelievably enough, Lotus wins the very first round, right? So that is amazing, to be honest, for them. Good stuff. I think even with Nepal being in the round, they would still win that, to be honest. So, you know, all good. All good from Lotus' side. They win it out. They got to do it 2 more times. So, if they could take a second round and take a point of W, even that would be a miracle.
I mean, shout out to Jordan as well, right? Because realistically, he, by taking the info tower, not getting reset by Mentos, and then also getting the quad strike with his own inherited ability from the tank, getting 1000 damage with that is a very good opening. Puts his team in a very advantageous position, and Lotus not fumbling in this round. So, yeah, for W, we were talking about dire straits for Lotus, but it feels like it's the same thing for W now.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet, though. Your prediction is completely out of the water. Good job. Congratulations, Key.
Thank you very much.
Always here to, remind you.
But apparently, you're the one not caring about the prediction.
I don't, but I just find it funny when, you care so much about it and then you end up failing, that's the worst part.
It sounds like I don't, but I do.
I mean, all I know is right now you and Banter are wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is quite obvious. Let's see if yours comes to pass. There is a possibility, but for that to happen, W would need to start playing here. Let's see what they will do. Nepal with the timeout, not in the team right now, so it seems like Brainbreaker has replaced him. First of all, BZ and 50B bands coming in, leaving the quadruple Dravids, double CS63 and 140 combination open. Follow this.
In return, a little bit of a mix here for W. Gorilla, T100, K91, double bad, i7, and a Dravids.
And the equipment on the Gorilla, low noise is diabolical on Cliff. You can just play some positions where the enemy might not suspect you, and then, of course, this time around Lotus doesn't have a plane available because, well, they didn't take a light tank that could do it, but yeah, Mentos in that Gorilla, he will be very, very hard to spot. Klurf in the plane, or sorry, in the T100 gets a lot of information. If you're wondering why he's playing T100, well, the lower profile on the ramp can sometimes work in your favor. Let's see if Mentos in that Gorilla is going to connect. His shot activates the ability, taking aim, and boom. Minus 2.5k, and if Brainbreaker picks it up, yes, minus Tarks.
Minus Tarks indeed, they all end up hitting the shot, and Tarks a little bit of fail driving as well, I think you could say that, I think it's fair to add. Ended up hitting the rock, might have survived on a one-shot, or Lucan could have killed him. Nonetheless, it's a good start here for W, slowing the game right down and immediately crossing over. But Dravids is Lotus. Botsian is going to be crossing over together with David. They want to establish back that 1-2 control, but Lucan already stole the strike in the meantime.
And now he's even driving away with the Batchat towards the opponent's spawn as a mini reset is going to come out on towards the info tower that Jordan is trying to take. They want to reconfirm whether that actually was a Gorilla or possibly a stage 2. It cannot be clear for Lotus at this point in time. Let's see how the repush from Lotus is going to go on the 1-2 line, though, as Sokol immediately taking a lot of damage. I believe the Gorilla was able to maybe use its ability here, even as Lucan still clipping out onto Sokol that now is in big problems. Mentos doesn't care about the added alpha from the ability now, goes in and shuts it down. 2 unanswered kills for W.
Strike coming out as well on Botsian and David. I mean, to be honest, this round was in the dumpster. The moment that Tarks got relegated there, W play a little bit of a counter strat here. Don't want to play to aggro. Take it slow, take it steady. Ends up working as well. Make it all even 1-1 coming out of Cliff. A little bit more like it from W. Outplaying their opponents from the beginning. No real way back in for Lotus, to be honest, after that. And even Lucan went to the south corner instead of his own corner back in the north. That was a good move as well. Got Sokol on a pincer. You know, all in all, good stuff.
Now it's just cleanup and mop-up operation time here as W reap the rewards of this initial really good fire support onto the crossing CS that ended up taking Tarks down to the garage quite immediately. And 7 tanks remain for W. As you said, that's a little bit more like it, but questions remain.
Questions remain, especially because, you know, they had to resort to camping in the back to win the round. Disgraceful. But, you know, 1-1 coming out of Cliff, not what W wanted, but this one was much, much better, of course. And, like, if they win this 3-1, no harm is done. They could just, you know, hope and say that Lotus played some counter after, you know. So it's not ideal still, but you know, 1-1 could be worse.
Well, first of all, stats here coming out from either team, and the Gorilla is actually going to find itself on top of the scoreboard, which is, well, to be honest, exactly where the Gorilla needs to be. Otherwise, why would you pick it? It is just a pure damage dealer, glass cannon, sniper. Mentos this time around doing exactly what his team needed him to. And yeah, W able to equalize the scoreline, but as this is a best of 5, absolutely nothing is decided yet. The only thing we know is that after the next round, someone is going to be on match point. But before the match, I would have immediately given it to W. But once again, that tactic that went horribly wrong in this round number 1, it doesn't inspire too much confidence here.
Indeed. But again, it was 1 round, okay? We can't get hung up too much on 1 round, you know?
Nope.
Wasn't ideal, but you know, it happens. I mean, look at Mafia and Cashback, right?
Well, Himmelsdorf is going to be the second map of the day, and Himmelsdorf is played quite differently than Cliff. I think Cliff is a very, very unique map in the map pool when it comes to playstyle. And so on Himmelsdorf, the teams will need to demonstrate completely different skills than Cliff. So let's see where this one takes us. But as I said, it is a very technical map, and for a team that realistically has less experience than W, this could be a problem, but they must have a plan, otherwise they wouldn't have picked it.
Well, let's hope that they got something cooking on Himmels, because it is indeed a pretty difficult map to play properly. So can Lotus do that? Like you said, it's a highly technical map still in a way, because there's a lot of possibilities on how to play it.
Yeah, I mean, the hill is always a big option. The cap also, but because the cap is so small, the resets with those strikes can end up to be very, very effective. So I think also Himmelsdorf is one of those maps to make together maybe with Ruinberg, where the bans can be very influential. Like question always remaining, is E4 banned, which right now it is by Lotus. Interestingly enough, W banning out the CS63, not a super priority. I mean, it does get picked on Himmelsdorf, but like, it not in force. And well, Lotus, it seems like they have a plan, Ducky. It's quadruple B and 3 Dravets.
In return, W gonna be playing 60p, IS-4, IS-7, Type 5, 140, Bliska, and a Forge B. So 7 different tanks. A lot of different abilities as well, which is really good for the 60p, right?
Yeah, the Unity ability, I believe that it has, it profits off of a diverse lineup, essentially. So, yeah, the IS-7s as well as the 60TP's ability is going to be pretty spicy this round, to put it mildly. First of all, though, Lotus immediately driving in towards the 1, 2, and 3 line, and that might be a problem for Ios in the 140, who is going to be the first one at the front line against those Dravzi, and he immediately starts trading it out, wants to generate roll XP to give the Inspire to his team as Tarks drives up, drives over, and Piotr will have a problem here, because that is a lot of tanks that are very, very close. He also sees the 50Bs coming around, but that is good coverage onto Tuka. The bleed is substantial.
Yeah, Twist now taking a lot of shots as well, but he will survive. Klurf now pops the ability, but he's dead. He's about to get absolutely destroyed by 50Bs in just a mere second, and this is not good for W, to be honest. They're down a gun, they gotta react now. Piotr is not that healthy either. The 50Bs are coming back in. I also sneaking on the K-lines, move that I kinda can appreciate. He's gonna be annoying Torn in their sides, but now can Lotus convert this tank advantage into an actual round win, trading blow for blow. The 140 pushing back across. Mentos finds Twist, evening it out, and Sokol and Jordan, they're now gonna go hunt for Ios, but not before Tuka ends up going down, and now these tanks tanks on the cap. They're a little bit isolated. They could be pincered from two sides, and you can see that movement come out as well. Itox, Amentos, and Piotr now coming in for the killing blow on them. They do manage to make that one happen. Tarksik in the meantime is going to go down here as well. He does miss that shot. Might be even his last one. David in return also in trouble. The 50Bs may have cleaned up the 140, but in the return they're losing everything else. Jordan, Sokol gonna be the last two standing, but W, they may have lost the first tank. They definitely made Lotus pay quite a lot for that.
I think what W did well here was realizing immediately what Lotus was up to, which was basically a blind all-in onto the 1-2-3 line, and then the damage, the punishment coming out from the W tanks on towards all of those Lotus players that were trying to cascade down the 1-2-3 line. It was too much. Essentially, the Vosh B getting out the full clip against Triple B, I would say, is, you could already consider it to be a success, because realistically he's never going to go in towards the second clip. And so the rest of the W players really reacting well here against this all-in strategy from Lotus, and rewarding themselves with the second point in this match, which is going to put them on match point. But as the saying goes, I don't think they're out of the woods yet.
No. Not out of the woods, but, you know, taking control of the match. So that was a good recovery after losing the very first tank. And you could see the problem there is that there's so many tanks in this cap area. I also actually made a good move back across the K line, made a distraction, ended up killing some position that may not have died otherwise. But those tanks in the cap, they end up getting pincered by the Type 5, by the Bliska, and Dravets is a good tank. But a Type 5 and a Bliska Witzek combining on towards you, it's usually not an engagement you can win.
No, and especially if the focus fire is on point, right? There was the possibility for the players to split their fire even in the cap, but that didn't happen. They just immediately went for the removal of, I believe it was David or Botchans in the cap, leaving Tarxi relatively unharmed until, well, it was his time to die. But here, I think it is very easy to analyze the problem that Lotus put themselves into, and that basically was that throwing those 50Bs, it was a long shot into the 1-2-3 line. If they get spotted early, which they did, then it's just so much ground to cover, and the 50B is so squishy that if the opposing team is just, you know, aiming in towards all of those little openings that present themselves when crossing, then you're not gonna come back from that.
Well, Lotus picked Himmels, so they gotta make it work. They have another opportunity here. They started off strong, but nobody gonna remember that if you end up losing 3-1, to be honest.
That is certainly true as well. So W already rewarding themselves with a singular point that they now have secured, and basically this round here, it's worth 2 points, 2 additional ones for them. And for Lotus right now, they're realistically playing for the single point that, first of all, going to tiebreaker would award them. But I think W, they have spent enough matches giving points to other teams that considering stuff like Phase 2 as well, they need to stop doing that in order to then be able to progress to playoffs.
Well, second round here for Lotus. Is there a point in store, or is it going to be leaving empty-handed?
That is going to be the question, but the good thing is that question is about to be answered. First of all, of course, we are still waiting for the ban phase to complete here, but that should be the case pretty much immediately. There we go, 1 second, and in come the bans. Once again, it's going to be E4 ban from Lotus, and W, not with the CS ban, but instead the 50B taken out.
Lotus double Dravets E100, double T57, double 4-speed, still very aggressive, and W again playing this little mix of everything, right?
Yeah, for W, once again, we have that 60 TP together with double BZ, E100, CS 140, and Forshb. We'll have to wait and see. I think the T57 kind of counters the BZ in a way if it shows up in enough numbers, but we have to keep in mind from Lotus that is actually a very, very bursty lineup with those 4 autoloaders.
And there again, going towards 1-2 line with that group of tanks, but W will be in the center of the map. They should be spotted out though by this Dravets of Tarks. He does end up getting the spot on the double BZ, and David's seeing nobody cross. I mean, it might be an opportunity here for the T-57s to peek out against Piotr, who's going to maybe try to take the info. If he would, then it would be a lot of damage to come out, but he's not gonna go for it right now. So the Forge B is now getting spotted on 1-2 line as well. Sokol and Tukap, they are having a freebie into that. Lukin trying to take the strike, takes one from Jordan. Piotr looking, but is in a pretty safe position. Will now start taking the info, but it will back off from it immediately because the CS63 on the hill will take the info as well. That's Mentos, and they will see what's happening.
Well, some trades going back and forth right now, but Lukin able to take the artillery strike here. That is going to be favoring W slightly. Lotus respond with a strike as well, but arguably for W it's more important right now to always have this 100% safe decap option because I think it's David in that Dravets has gone onto the cap, and now here Brainbreaker getting a little bit of info, seeing a T-57, puts some damage, forces Botchans to activate and burn through the ability without generating anything in return. So quite the success for Brainbreaker. We just have to wait and see if W is actually willing to commit Clerv in that Force B in towards the fangs of the wolves, because there would be a lot to punish.
David has a good position though against Piotr. Jordan now as well getting a little bit of damage towards Lucan. Mentos took some damage on the hill as well when he tried to peek that E100. Of course he does have a mini strike, so they will be able to reset this gap, no problems whatsoever, even doing 250 with that. But Lotus starting to bully a little bit here, Kihan. You know, starting to do some damage against these BZs, but the CS on the hill is of course very annoying for them to try and deal with. Jordan facing off against Brainbreaker. Of course, Brainbreaker has the issue that if he rolls back, he's getting peeked by this Dravets on the hill. Repush coming out with Itox and Ios on towards David, but he's covered relatively well. Double Force B behind him and a T-57 heavy.
Well, the CS on the hill has started shooting AG now, Mentos that is, to try and definitely get resets. However, he does get punished for it, and David with a good shot in towards Mentos, and as time progresses, I think the trades here really are favoring Lotus at this point in time, signaling towards W that they need to do something differently than what they've done so far. I mean, they have rotated the Foch B out of the 8 line, but considering that Lotus actually have a double Foch B on that one too, it would be extra costly trying to repush there. Once again, the issue being that is a lot of open ground to cover.
Yuka facing off against the tanks crossing over. Piotr taking some more damage now. That's from David from behind. Itox is pushing up. Will potentially peak this in the 60p. It's actually looking for the Force B instead, and Itox got to be careful as well, of course. He is close to the cap now. The strike coming out from Mentos on the hill resets that Dravets, and now Jordan, Brainbreaker just trading it out, and so far Lotus doing a really good job in this battle for making some really good trades. And now watch this 8 line, watch Brainbreaker. He's got to be really careful. David wants to go back, takes one from Piotr, takes one from the, not from the hill, that one didn't connect, and Brainbreaker's now backing off. Smart move, because he was about to get a lot of pressure right on him.
Well, he does see Jordan once again. They end up trading, but in come the T-57s. They would have loved for that E100 to stay a little bit longer, but now Botchans once again has to cover ground before he can actually start shooting and reliably penetrating. Lukin already there to back up Brainbreaker as well, and Botchans taking a lot of damage without dealing any so far. Finally, he starts clipping, and Twist comes with the second T-57. That should be enough for Brainbreaker. As the shots start coming in, Brainbreaker goes down, but Lotus over pushing the middle of the map in the meanwhile.
Oh, looking not that great for W, but they can still hold on. They're down a gun. Itox in the 60p together with Mentos has a pretty nasty crossfire on them, and I think that is the saving grace right now, because we can see all of these tanks kind of stuck in the lower area. A strike from Ios as well, gonna be put on towards Sokol and Tarks. Tarks is trying to dodge, will not be able to do it, so it's gonna hit for 850 in total. Tarks taking then one from the 60p, and thankfully for W, they have this crossfire, because the CS from the hill, I feel like, together with that 60p is winning the game right now for its team. Mentos has a mini strike, pops it on towards Sokol. Sokol cannot survive. Mentos finds the kill, and it looked for a second again really dire from W's side, but they will hold on, and Lotus will win one, but it's not looking like they're gonna win another.
No, it doesn't look like it. Mentos starting to trade with Jordan is going to get a strike momentarily, as now the reset peaks come in by Twist, but he cannot sustain standing against this kind of firepower. Cap is down to 10 seconds. No strike. Oh, actually a baby strike available, but it's for Mentos. No one on Lotus has one currently as the cap ticks down. It's 2 seconds. It's 1 second. Toxic looking for a desperate reset. He doesn't get it. And W, it was a bumpy ride, but they make it happen. They take the 3 points that they needed.
Yeah, in a 3-1 fashion as well, Keyhand. So good stuff there from W. Nonetheless, you know, coming back in it after a quite rocky start on round number 1. 3-1 scoreline. Nobody's really going to remember too much about this particular match in a few play days, except for the fact that W took 3 points, which is really all that matters at the end of the day. They take all of the points that needed to be taken. Lotus had opportunities. They weren't able to bring back home at least a point, and so be it. W makes a little bit of a lead away now, right? They're on 6 points, so they're getting a little more comfortable in those positions. They need the points at this point to start looking at phase 2, right?
Yeah, I think the problem still remains for W, though, that it wasn't really confident in the way that they did it, right? And while W takes those 3 points, I think it's just going to add to this feeling of W can really be hurt this season. The reigning champion, regardless. But yeah, Lotus taking around, but not much else. And here we do see Mentos from that hill. He really was able to trade favorably.
Yeah, he did so much with that CS. I think him and Itox, that crossfire they had on the 8-line repush was so important.
Also, I think the T57 push through the 8-line, as soon as they still had to do it, even when they saw that the E100 of Brainbreaker had backed off, it's kind of one of those, you know, it's going to be bad if we do it, but it's going to be worse if we don't, so let's do it, even though it's not the best call.
Honestly, if there was a little bit more consolidated and they didn't give up every angle for it, who knows? But they gave up the entire 1-2 line, which got retaken very quickly. Then the crossfire came in with the hill. I think it's an oversight to leave the hill uncontested. You know, maybe FHB going back on the hill, whatever. Would have to look back. But leaving Mentos just to sit there to establish a two-way crossfire between the cap and him was always going to be an almost impossible task to overcome.
All right, it seems like we're a little bit ahead of schedule because W versus Lotus and Mafia versus Cashback essentially being pretty short best of 5s with 3-0 and 3-1 respectively. But maybe the coming match is going to change that. And, well, you were talking about Mafia versus Cashback as the match of the day. Arguably, it could be Hit versus Weekend as well because considering the leaderboard, I think it's first against second place.
It is indeed the case. It's a very close matchup and it will make a little bit of separation in the standings. But before we get into that match, let's take a quick step back, give a moment to refresh to ourselves and to the people at home, and watch a little bit of replays. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series League Season 6. Hi, Phil. How are you doing?
I think I'm doing pretty well so far. Hit versus Weekend, I hope will be better than our first supposed match of the day. So Weekend is apparently doing very well in trainings from what I've heard. And I would like to see them put up a good fight because Hit played very well against Mafia in one of the previous matches. So maybe we can get a bit more of a, like longer, more intense, closer game.
And Hit is honestly doing very well this season as well. The loss of Barbarian doesn't seem to impact them that much so far, which I think many of us had as a potentially impacting point for that team. But
yeah, I think it's just that Decha came back, right? Like,
yeah, for sure, man.
He basically said like if he is in the roster, he wants to play, and now he's back playing, and he's playing pretty well. But yeah, so is Sunshine. He's also back, and I think Weekend added Paradise, who has also been playing. Yeah, quick comparison. Obviously, both those teams having won quite a lot, over 70% each. Both of them also among the top damage dealer. KD ratio, obviously, with a 140. Always pretty high if you're standing in the back, lower alpha gun, picking up kills. And we'll have to see which of those KD ratios will be ruined today.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to lose, right? That is the downside here. Community predictions 75% in favor of Hit and Run, though. Not feeling the Weekend hype train too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, we had the Weekend match against Lotus, which ended up 3-0 for Weekend, and kind of all of the casters were saying, yes, they won, but they were quite sloppy. So this match against W, I think it also has shown that both of those teams are definitely willing to do some mistakes here and there. Westfield picked by Hit and Run. We didn't see it for one season, but the season before it was among their best maps, so definitely something to look out for. And I think Cliff's also a map where both of those teams have shown promising stuff.
I mean, Westfield can be played in many ways, right? You can play for the cap, can play for the middle, can play for the south, can play control even. But knowing Weekend, I'm not sure if they're going to be going for that. Cliff, again, less options, I would say, than Westfield. But we saw even W, put their foot on the brake and slow down the game with a Gorilla. That's possible as well.
I mean, do you remember we had this match... CTR versus Hit tiebreaker, where Hit was actually playing Cliff with double 60 TP. That was a very first match day. That was the match where CTR played with double light tank, like pushed an EBR on the hill, pushed T100 around. So, I mean, Cliff is still being explored, I would say.
Sure.
But yeah, Westfield.
Yeah, Westfield is the one we're starting off with predictions. We all went with a 3-1 for Hit and Run. Even you that went like, oh, Weekend's doing really good in trainings, apparently voted for him.
I had him on 3-2, and then Hit 1-3-0 against Mafia, and I changed it to 3-1.
Maybe you'll end up
like credit where credit is due.
Maybe you'll end up regretting that one.
Yeah, I mean, I did so for the W match, but it's fine. My biggest hope is that we see a good match. The rest, I think, is secondary. I think one thing that we have not seen yet, I'm not sure if we will ever, is the RS on Westfield. It might be something interesting to consider if you like get someone like offside. But I don't know. It feels that it's one of those niche gamble tanks where teams will kind of wait to see if someone is willing to try it out, let's say it like this. And then maybe if it works, more teams will play it.
Yeah, I mean, anything's a possibility here. I'm just curious if Hit and Run and Weekend are going to go for the slugging it out or for a little bit longer kind of game. It is a possibility, of course, with the amount of mini strikes you could play in the beginning, you can play the longer game, right? You have to hit the mini strikes as well, of course, but they do provide cap resets.
No, no. I mean, I've seen very interesting stuff as well in the OCS. The ban phase is nearly over. We have Yo and BZ banned. Is this 550Bs?
Yes.
This is very interesting.
And at 140 and at the sack, they're going to be facing off against Dravitses. 4 of them. An AX, a 430U, and an RHM Panzerwagen.
I mean, I remember that it played this combination of AX plus 430U a bunch of times before. Usually they had it supported by Briskavitzes and Type 5s. Obviously, Dravik is a new addition to Onslaught. 50Bs have basically all gone back, I guess, successfully avoiding the plane. I mean, good for them. And now we see 5 of those autoloaders with Turbo and Grousers, each of them moving towards the base. I mean, the 430U might have not a great time there. Or in this case, Monster, for all that matters.
Let's see if Monster is able to dodge these 50Bs. It doesn't look like it. They're peeking up. Hellrap is the first one. Got to be careful with the damage taken. Minus 2.1 on that one. Now they're going to go for the cleanup against Monster and potentially the Swarm after. Monster will fall in the Dravets, and now they're continuing. And Tisek is not doing that much better. Drop towards 500. They have the shells. Maybe the Ram coming out. It is going to be the Ram, but now is this moment of downtime where they need to disengage and they need to survive, and that will be the big problem here. You can see those 50Bs scattering left, right, and everywhere. Some HE shells coming in as well. They gotta survive. They gotta play the long game. The X is in crossfire position, and so is the RHM.
Yeah, I mean, Desha there in a very important position, being Amorect, obviously not helping him out, but puts a good shot into Trash Panda, who's also awfully low now. The crossfire is still pretty much there. Panz Fury and Franek in the back. Also, Hit and Run has the kind of the advantage that the pushing tanks of Weekend do not really exist in this match, because like you can't play Haldown with the Tesak. The 140 has a bit of gun depression, but not really effective against the Dravik. And let's not talk about 50Bs playing Haldown.
No, the 50B and hold on, it's not something that really works.
Ooh, and Desha took a bunch of damage, but yeah, I think it was worth it.
I mean, yeah, he takes a bunch of damage, but those 50Bs ran out of steam. They got the kill, they got the second kill, but then Hit and Run had a really, really good crossfire, and it's really hard to then recover from that. So we can try something here, try as a surprise. I like that they tried it, but Hit and Run's crossfire will not be broken.
No, and with that being said and done, we have first point on the board for Hit and Run. I would say this is one of those things where if it's the first round and you try something, that's alright, but now you need to kind of like play something extra careful, extra well at least, to compensate for the fact that you just gave up I would say fairly easy point.
Sure. First round on the board for Hit and Run. 2 to go for them to win out the match. Let's see, there's going to be 2 50Bs that don't end up doing that much, which is Hellrap and Paradise. The Tasak also really not getting a foothold in this battle. You know, 977, not fantastic. But in return, you can see the crossfire tanks from Hit and Run do exactly that, especially that Panzer Fury tank, which was in the back. And of course, Franek as well in that AX in the back lines, always hitting the shots, probably getting some HE shells in as well. So
he shot 13-13, same for Panzer Fury.
Yeah, so solid stuff from them, what you expect. Good job to the both of them. You know, Monster and T-Sec, they can't really do much in a battle like this.
No, I mean, in the end, it's also a matter of like who is the first one to take the load of damage. Monster did 2 shots at least. I guess he got a bit of ramming or 2 high rolls, not sure. Either way, first round in favor of Hit. We will switch sides. Not that it matters that much on Westfield, but we'll have to see if something else creative is coming from their side.
I mean, this was the creative opening, right? I don't know if we're going to see Hit and Run try something similar, but I would not be expecting it.
Did your cat knock something over?
Yeah, bro, he's crazy, let me tell you. I mean, you having a dog, you understand what I'm talking about. But he's like an extra level of crazy.
No.
It's always the youngest, you know. Speaking from experience, by the way.
Okay, we are loading into the game, and I see some E50Ms on the side of Hit, but let's not talk about it too early because the ban phase is not yet over. Do you think there's anything like crazy that we could still maybe see? I don't know, a Kranwagen or something like that?
5 STBs. Just.
I mean, I feel like Yo tanks have definitely like a reason to be there.
It was not like a crazy pick, you know.
I mean, we haven't seen them that much, but we'll have to see. Looks like there might be a small delay because we just switched to the caster scene, but everything is fixed by our amazing video team, and we are back in the game. Looks like we have banned tanks BZ and BZ, so both now picking Dravek and Yo tank. There's a K91, obviously that has a strike. No light tank for weekend against basically one Inspire on each side and the RHM. How do you feel about those?
I mean, Weekend is gonna have to play a lot more aggressive, you know. Well, Hit and Run has the lineup, but I feel like I like Hit and Run's lineup versus Weekends, you know, because they have the light, they'll get the early info, and because of the early info, they also have they also have quite a bunch of maybes of their own, you know, with the 3 of them, so they're able to hold all positions.
Plus, their Dravek, I mean, not that it is such a big difference, but their Dravek has a bit more. No, it's actually the same. Never mind. I was about to say more different roles, but they have the RT Strike medium as well. So both RT Strikes are being taken by Hit and Run. The small RT Strike from Evil was not used to prevent that. Kano will be able to pick up the radio. Obviously, Hit and Run got the early info immediately, so they don't really rely on that radio. And now we'll have to see how the crossfires work in both teams' favors. T-Sec there is being pressured, but has some support from the Dravik in the back. And the 140 also put in a good shot to get the level 3 Inspire now. Important to say is the Inspire has 12 seconds cooldown now, so the timing is a bit more important, right?
Crossfire coming in as well. Pranek, Getsai, Panzer Fury, of course, on the backlines as well, starting to do a good amount of damage here against the tanks from Weekend. I think that's the problem for Weekend right now, is that they're still playing against a lineup that can pretty much hold these positions, no problem, no questions asked. They have their own maybes as well, and now the RHM and the 140, of course, still holding onto that double strike as well, which is a weapon you cannot underestimate, especially if Paradise and Sunshine decide to gather up in front. T6's gotta be careful though in that Dravet, but still, Franek and Ketsai holding on to those strikes. They know that they might need them to decap or anything else. They're still holding. Now Kano and Evilok are going to push on towards Panzer Fury. That's the first strike coming out, and Evil will actually not dodge it, just about drives back into it, and Panzer Fury is actually going to pick up Kano as well in that 140. He's dead. Ooh, Fury misses the shot there. He will not be getting it because of that.
No, I mean, he got a bit of a ram in the end, so the tank is dropped down to below strike damage, but there is right now no strike available. The positions obviously give Decha and Monster the higher ground right now, but they need to pick up some kills because you can see the scattered HP of all the tanks kept all the guns from Weekend alive, and it would be really important to reduce the effective DPM of all those tanks right now.
Hit and Run is going to make a kill or two though in this regard. Sunshine, Hellrap, Gano, they're all very low in this. And Klausic now down towards 8 HP as well. Decha finds one. Sunshine looking juicy as well. Decha might even reload towards HE to get Klausic. And no, he's going to go for Sunshine. He ends up missing that one. Takes a lot of damage in return for that though. Seems like 3 shots. Ketsai is now going to pick it up at the RHM. DJ coming in as well, finding a kill on Hit and Run, stabilizing out the round. It started off so bad for Weekend. They found a little bit of luck there even to find Panzer Fury without losing a tank in return. But not enough. Just not enough.
No, I mean, I liked the idea. I think it was a quite interesting round. But as you mentioned, the HP gain at the very beginning from Hit and Run was just so helpful to set up the tanks correctly. And the lineup was just good in receiving that push as well.
Yeah, they have like almost an ideal counter lineup, would say. You know, they have their own Inspire, they have the Light to get initial info, and then they have all holding tanks behind it. So they're not really in danger of losing any position for free and to get pushed very quickly by this lineup. Like I said, Fury missing the shot, that was like the one downside there, because the 140 would have been dead, which is the Inspire out, which would have been pretty impactful throughout the game, like the remainder of the game. But still, the initial advantage they took, it was too much to really overcome.
No, I mean, in the end, it might also just come down to like the higher ground, which helps the pen rate. You can see it, 71% is quite low, especially on this distance, but then you have so much armor in the hull downs with the Dravek and the Yo tank, so this damage in the end blocked there. You can see it, Decha, Monster, we talked about those higher ground positions, that definitely mattered.
Yeah, for sure, and they're in the right tanks for it as well, yeah. The blocked is also, you know, if you compare the two teams, just how many blocked shots there are on the hit and run side. Like,
how does Monster have 3.2k strike damage? Is that correct?
Wasn't it blocked 3.2k?
Yeah, he hit both.
Yeah,
I think that was incorrect. I mean, I just checked the battle record. He did not have that much block damage. He had the block damage, but not the strike damage, sorry.
That leaves us going into Cliff, though, which is, of course, Weekend's pick, but they're going to have to put up a big result here to really bring it back, because hit and run on 2-0 on Cliff as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some good approaches against hit and run as well on Cliff earlier, but they're a team that is quick to react, and if you give them an inch, they will just take the whole distance. And you mentioned it, it's not that far away from the finish line now that they have already secured 2 out of 3 rounds.
Well, they already got a point, right? If nothing else. But it will be very hard for Weekend, I think, to win 2 rounds of Cliff, because, you know, Cliff, hit and run could play a coin flip strategy, and, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's only going to work once.
Yeah, I mean, so far it was more Weekend that played the, I would call it, experimental strats, or like, you know, creative stuff. The 50B thing especially. I'm not sure if Hit and Run is willing to risk something, because yeah, they're usually the team that tries to play it safe. Looking at the bans, I think that will give us a first indication. Hit and Run banning the 50B, which we saw a lot of them in Weekend, and an RHM being banned on the side of Weekend. I guess that is like an advantage for Hit and Run, because they banned one of the most important tanks for Weekend. But interesting to see double 57 and triple BZ. Not something we see that often.
No, indeed.
Also from the north.
No light available from either team. Hit and Run triple BZ double CS 144 to the U seems very standard. But yeah, 57, an interesting pick, right? Not the fastest tank whatsoever.
No, I mean, we saw different stuff from both teams, even like I mentioned at 60 TPs. Weekend is having the T-57s available for this like snipe onto the ramp. Obviously, you have the stability boosting ability at the beginning already. So maybe they can give a good salvo into Monster, who is the CS that drives up now. We'll have to see that first shot coming in. Monster stops, gets the second shot into his back. The shot from Decha onto Paradise fluffs, and Monster decides to not go further. I would say the damage was not crazy, but it's still a victory, because you get up a tank, get the information tower as well. But obviously, T-Sec in the meantime took the nice position there of F3 and has now the strike available as well.
Really good timing from Monster, actually. You know, could have taken a lot for that, but ends up getting away. Not even getting shot by the BZ or the double T-57. I would say for his part, really solid timing. And the Fury will take the strike. Decha dodging it, so at least there's that. A good peek from the top of the hill. Being a nuisance is Paradise, and Weekend, you know, they have established at least that top of the hill, and we know how powerful that top of the hill is.
Yeah, especially with this shortened spotting time, you can kind of like pop here, see there, and so on. Like, you have a bit more flexibility. in the timing of when you shoot and come back. You don't have to shoot exactly on this 10 seconds timer. But yeah, Weekend has quite significant 3k HP advantage. But you mentioned it, the T-57s are not the fastest tanks, and rotating them back all the way from G2 is also a bit of a task. 10 seconds on the cap now. It's double cap, obviously, and they have a strike. First target gets decapped. That was Pan's Fury. And I think they will be able to get the CS strike onto Decha, because Paradise dodged the strike from T-Sec. T-Sec had the small strike as well, so he prevented it from Paradise. But I think Clownsick could just boost into it, right? Or Trash Panda can do that.
Yeah, Paradise getting reset again. They really don't want him to take the info and get a strike on towards the caps. It's going to have to be Trash Panda to block it manually. The BZ coming around the hill is Sunshine. Takes one from DJ. Decha does get spotted out. T-Sec is taking another strike. But like you said, the cap is being just blocked by Trash Panda. 57. One of them is on 1-2 line, spotted out. Yeah, and he does take some damage. But main thing to note is the 57s have left this cover from below for tanks to go up on the hill, right? One's on the 5 line, one's on the 2 line.
But the G5 position can still fire at the ramp. It's not 4 shots because you don't have the time. But if DJ decides to boost through there, I'm pretty sure he will take at least 1 shot from the T-57.
Cap is back on though.
Another pack on 5 seconds now nearly. Trash Panda should have easily enough time to block it. Panthery gets strikes. Trash Panda drives out. Back to 30 seconds. The HP is still up roughly 2k in favor of Weekend. But Paradise is also able to really keep the pressure there. And yeah, I mean, we see it. The HPs are dwindling on both sides. It's 15 seconds now. Paradise has another strike. Trash Panda has another option of blocking it. Katsai decides to get the info tower, but I think everyone was spotted anyway already. DJ fluffs his shot, takes a bunch of damage now from Kano. And that puts it back to Weekend's advantage, because Hit and Run had regained some HP with a good strike onto both of the BZs.
Strike will be available yet again for T-Sec as well on the 2 line. Katsai moving back, and it's a stalemate here. Panzer Fury will, again, together with Decha, boost his cap, but Trash Panda is indeed just able to body block that. And there's not much happening outside of that from either team. Just kind of having this little bit of a skirmish on the cap.
Oh, look at the 430U now coming in there. Yeah, trades are coming in. Hellrep is there as well with the T-57. Now Weekend is approaching Pan's Fury here, who takes quite some damage. A bit of blocked here as well. Strike is coming in, also fire from the back, but Monster is in a heap of trouble. Both Sunshine and Evil are there. T-Sec picks up the first kill onto Trash Panda, who is blocking the cap. The HPs are still pretty even, but if Evil is able to pick up Monster, they will have decent positions to backfire into the defending BZs there, right?
Yeah, but in the meantime, this cap over push has not worked out whatsoever for Weekend. It's actually going to be them losing it out altogether. Already minus Trash Panda. Hellrap is now next, and Clownsick will also join them. The top of the hill still controlled by Weekend, of course, but they have an entire 57 heavy on the lower side. Clownsick does manage to take down DJ as his final hooray. T-Sec will probably start climbing the hill back now with Decha. And honestly, this is pretty good for Hit and Run. Like, yeah, they lost Monster, yeah, they lost DJ, but they've cleared the cap. They're now putting themselves in a position to retake the hill with Decha, and that's a very healthy BZ. In the meantime, Kano re-pushing 1-2 line. It's Katsai waiting there. I mean, even if he gets the full clip against his 430U, he's going to take a lot of damage in return for that, and the 430U will not just give himself up for free. The strike missing on towards that BZ of Panzer Fury on the lower side. Katsai just trading it out, which is what he's okay with. Kano even missing one. The strike comes out, and because that one missed, they're not able to kill him either, so that's pretty impactful in the end. Evil and Panzer Fury kind of whiffing against each other, but the 430U, of course, has the advantage because of the DPM. And on top of the hill, T-Sec will clean up Paradise, and, you know, Katsai is in the meantime running down this T-57 heavy.
Yeah, I mean, the reload is pretty quick there, and Kano will be able to pick up one more kill, but you mentioned the very high HP Inspire tank and the support from the hill Evil will be likely the next one to fall. Puts in one more shot into the 140, and now it's Tsek, hopefully with his 5th kill. No, fluffs the shot, blocks Franek. Franek picks up the kill, and with only a one-shot T57 left, I guess Hit and Run is defending the top of the table with a pretty solid 3-0.
Yeah, quite a surprise, right? To have a 3-0 here. A lot of these matches which we think were going to be close are just complete blowouts in that regard. Hit and Run gonna be bringing it home with a 3-0. Ooh, Franek might die here, to be honest. Oh, just about gets the reload. Wouldn't matter anyways, Dacha was coming in. But nonetheless, 3-0 for Hit and Run. After dominating Mafia 3-0, they're now doing it to Weekend as well, and they have really stormed into the season. One disappointing game, well, disappointing, they ended up winning it. One close game against CTR, but outside of that, just absolutely stellar performances from Hit and Run throughout the season so far. Really, really good stuff. Congratulations to them. Another 3-0, which is good for the round difference as well, right? Solid points. They're
not good for the ego. Not good for the ego. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, that's of course the downside, right? But nonetheless, you know, ego has to come from somewhere, right? If you have nothing to back it off, then you're just like, you know, the Messi of all the things.
Yeah, and we can see right now pretty good damage there from the two tanks in the back, Franek and Tsek, and
they overplayed their hand in the middle.
I mean, Paradise did what he could.
Yeah, no, he
right?
did fantastic. But, like, I think they overplayed their hand in the middle. This 9-0 line push on towards that one guy was fine. But it has to be very much synced even with the mid. And the mid cannot pressure. It's hard. It's just enough. They should be gathering attention, right, on the middle. So the BZs don't blast the guys pushing. And then you take the 9 line, you kill the CS of Monster. Or you take the buildings and you crossfire the middle. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they had the T57s there as potential like backup if they would have gotten pushed. So yeah, it didn't work out for them. I have to say, the BZ push there as well. I think Sunshine and Evil onto Monster took a bit too long. I mean, the BZ did 2 shots of damage. It's a bit underwhelming. He just missed one, and the other one, Monster, was able to kind of like drive around the big rock. Either way, Weekend obviously still in a fairly alright position when it comes to the overall table. We have one more match left, and to be honest, I also think this could be a very close one. Sicarius versus CTR. CTR had a super strong strength of schedule at the beginning. They played against, I think, Mafia, Hit, and Weekend, right? So against some of the best teams, we'll have to see. Yeah, after the weekend, after the replays. Sorry.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the last match of the day. It is between two teams that are kind of struggling, but CTR arguably more so. They're playing against Sicarios.
Yeah, CTR, after a really nice performance in the previous season, this season they've been a little bit more tepid. However, they have fought mostly teams in the top half of the bracket, so this is where they really need to start reclaiming points. We can't really overstate how much of an important game this is for placement in the lower half of the bracket, right? We're anticipating those top 4 teams to go up, but whoever takes that 5th automatic qualifier spot next season, plus also the extra prize money, these types of matches in the a lower half Pound Town, it's going to be really important to see who wins this one.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a low-stakes match in like the grand scope of things, but for those two teams playing here right now, it is actually a very high-stakes match, because essentially you're playing against a direct competitor, and while I hate the notion of like 6-point games in, for example, in football, it is worth more than that, because not only are you generating points for yourself, if you win, you're also denying them from your opponent in that kind of way. So it is indeed very, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to watch how both of those teams approach this kind of match here as well, because I think in those matches, if you're playing against someone that realistically is kind of around the same area in the table, then you have a good shot at winning. So maybe spending some of your best strategies might be wise, to be honest. Sicarios Adi coming in with 3.2k DPG, 1.1 KD. Those are not bad stats for a team that's, not performing the greatest, because, well, if your team falters around you, you have less time to deal damage, and you get to do very little kills, usually.
Yeah, but he's not playing as well. He's playing regular fighting tanks, but the damage is still decent. It's over the HP of most tanks, so he's at least dealing his own damage. You know, what was it back in the day when I first started playing World of Tanks? It was, if I do my own tank's HP worth of damage, I've had a good game. But yeah, the predictions are very, very close. But yeah, I think at this point in the season, it's really important just to survive that first stage, right? I think both of these teams are anticipating they're going to survive the first stage. From what I've seen so far, I think Lotus is the weakest team of the bunch, but this is kind of these types of matches. The points that these teams get now will be very important of who gets that automatic qualifying spot. So yeah, looking at the lineups here, some well-known players: the CTR, the Czech team; Sicarios, the Polish team, and it's going to be difficult. But I think this is where. Today we've seen a lot of the weaker teams play like out-of-the-box strategies, right? We've seen Lotus play the 430U rushes. We saw Weekend play the 50B rushes on Westfield to try and catch your opponent out. Here, I think it's going to be a much more measured affair.
And I think that's also underlined by the maps that we are going to be seeing with Cliff and Ensk. Those are two pretty fast and action-packed maps taken out. We're going to start on Ghost Town, so likely it's going to be a slow start. And that is going to continue, because the second map is Ruinberg, which historically is not a map that features the most aggressive gameplay by teams, although there can be aggressive strategies employed. And CTR, I mean, kind of spotty performance so far in the season, but Ruinberg kind of is their map, so I'm very interested what we are going to see here. And if it goes to a tiebreaker, that one would be on Tundra, which would be a considerable switch up of pace, because Tundra, yes, some people, like at the start, it kind of settles into a stalemate, but then one side feels pressured into doing something, and it all explodes into action. So we'll have to wait and see if we get there. But first of all, Ghost Town, of course, also one of those very, very technical maps where having competent light tank players can be a definite step up for any kind of team. And we've even seen teams play more than one light tank on Ghost Town, although that has fallen a little bit out of fashion recently. I wonder why that is, because to be honest, with the CS level 1 strike now available at the start of the game, you could think about going maybe into the direction of La Rata again. It is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, in the previous season in what's it called again? OCS, Sicarios did play there, and I think they performed pretty well on Ghost Town, so it's quite a good map for them. They've got some good light tank players. As you mentioned, CTR, they're really strong on Runeberg. They were last season. They have been this season. I think they took 2 rounds off, I think, W, or it was cashback on Runeberg. But it's hard to predict if you look at the predictions. I think Phil actually voted 3-1 for CTR to win. But I was a real toss. I thought I went for CTR to win, actually.
I mean,
I'm surprised I went for
with Phil changing his predictions basically 5 times in 3 hours, you can never be sure. So far, it's served him well. Gotta admit credit where it's due, but
there's definitely some cheating on Phil's half. I refuse to believe.
I mean, he's also counting the points, and you know, a very well-known man in history once said, "It doesn't matter who votes; it matters who counts the votes." So we'll have to look into that one. First of all, let's look into the match, though, as the ban phase is all but over, and that one is going to determine a lot of what's going to go on here. Sicarios banning the EBR, while CTR don't want to see the 430U, leaving triple 50B, Dravets, IS-7, and double RHM on the side of Sicarios.
Yeah, double RHM on that one. A lot of light tank potential. They are fighting light tanks as well. On CTR side, as you mentioned, 430U banned, 1 Dravik, 1 Type, double CS, 1 430U, 1 Leopard, so a lot of strike mediums. So if Sicarios do go for that cap rush, it's going to be a lot of decaps there, and 1 T100. He does have CVS, so he's going to spot those RHMs coming a little bit sooner than normal, but the big thing to mention is these light tanks on Sicarios, bear in mind, RHM is like a mini CS. It's got good DPM and decent penetration, where the T100 really lacks it, but it's going to be a really hard game for Sicarios because CTR have a arm's length lineup, right? They have a type up front, lots of sniper mediums behind, and Sicarios have triple 50B, and those tanks want to catch something. I think the main advantage for Sicarios right now is they have this double light, but in the beginning, Floki takes the strike. The Dravik is all the way on the red line in B7, so that's quite interesting. The T100 in the middle, he's playing a dangerous game. I'm not sure how much info both these teams got in the beginning. I didn't really see it. Did you?
I think they actually got none. Herman didn't use his plane at the start, and Milo didn't hit anyone with the plane, which you can see because he doesn't have any roll XP on it. And so now the triple 50B actually getting spotted, and that is a lot of info. Herman, though, he needs to be super uber careful with that T100 as he does get spotted because he saw the 50Bs, but that info, it was relayed, and the plane goes down. That is a lot of roll XP for Herman in the T100, but it is even more for, I believe, Miku, who now has the level 3 plane, so it was probably him who spotted it, and that a lot of assistance damage. Lucky for Herman, he does make it out alive, but just about down to 582. That's a 2-shot.
I need to explain something that's actually hilarious. That is a fantastic strat by Sicarios. They planted the 50Bs on that corner, and the moment they got spotted, they knew that Herman had driven far enough up. So they relayed that to the light tank. The light tank puts a blind plane, because that's the only place that Herman can be, and Herman gets triple peaked by the 50Bs. If that was by design by Sicarios, that is really high IQ, actually. And to be honest, Herman should be dead for that. Like, it's 3 50Bs. They should 100% be dead for that. But the game continues. Click pressuring Lantar here. He's going to run away so he doesn't get shot by Alex. He's taking a clip in the side. Alex pens 3, doesn't connect the last one, but takes another from Click on the way out. Not great by him. Shouldn't have been that far forward. And he's going to get pounced on by these 50Bs if he's not careful.
Well, he does have a little bit of sniper support, but Blaine once again landing there, spotting out the K91 as well as the Leopard. Both of those need to duck back now and cannot really support against the Dravets of Click as Milo now driving very aggressively in that RHM, but he can afford to do so. He suspects the T100 on the other side, and he takes an extremely aggressive bush. For now, he does get spotted because of the info tower, though, so needs to be careful for the time being. Could even be permanently almost revealed by the level 3 plane ability that Herman has at this point in time. Herman hovering in the T100 around the eastern part of the map that now is firmly in CTR's control, but for now Sicarios have managed to actually get the HP advantage and also on the important tanks, with Herman still being very, very low HP. Although now CTR finally trading back a little bit with damage, but if you take a look at the lineup, they're nibbling at basically every tank, whereas the damage from Sicarios on towards the CTR tanks has been much more focused.
Yeah, Frantar is a pressure point that they could push on, but he is covered from behind. It's a very interesting game by both of these teams because Sicarios have such a light lineup. There's not that much meat in the lineup. It's only really Like and Click. And Click is fairly not in the center. So, ooh, Plantar, I think he took a shot from Click plus double strike, and I think that was kind of inevitable with Sicarios taking the multiple strikes. So Miku is getting punished for that one, but now the ball is in CTR's court. They can't just sit here based on the draw rules.
Definitely, CTR need to get back into the game, and the way that they want to do it, at least right now, is by taking a lot of the neutral utility that is scattered around the map. Ghost Town also one of those maps with a lot of POIs, 5 of them in total, 3 of which are strikes, but 2 of those are now getting taken by Sicarios. I think one of them already was taken, and the second one, it ended up getting interrupted for now, but for how much longer is the question.
Yeah, it's a really hard game for CTR at the moment. The thing is that Sicarios' lineup is quite nice for them because it's very light, which means you can do a lot of poking damage, right? Not that many hold-down tanks, but the fact that they have double light, where CTR have 1, and their 1 is quite low HP, it just gives them a lot of options that they can really work with. The CS is now pressuring the south. Mayo takes a pot shot at him, but doesn't connect. We'll see if Koidi decides to keep going. He opts not to. Mayo gets spotted, takes a bit of damage for that, a bit unnecessary by Mayo. Needs to be careful because these light tanks, if these light tanks get to low HP and they have to pull back to more defensive positions, that opens the 50Bs to get spotted.
Oh, Milo there definitely playing a dangerous game as he tries one more shot against the CS, but if he takes damage for that every time, then it's not going to be a good trade, especially against a CS that is higher HP. However, Koidechek realizing that the opposing team could be rotating to essentially, overrun him with 50Bs probably. He does draw back in a full rotation coming out from CTR, giving up a little bit of the map control that they had in the southeast. Woodog smartly also repositioning. He realizes a lot of those angles that were being held by his team in the south will not be much longer. So he's going to go to the eastern outside of the city outskirts, and he's going to try and cover from there. The Type 5, of course, the heavy linchpin of the CTR tactic.
Yeah, I do feel a bit bad for Herman. He's now like kind of forced to just play how many info towers can I pick up in one round game, which isn't very fun for him. But yeah, big rotation coming out from CTR. I think what they might try and do is they might try on the last minute and try and make a kill, or try and make a kill or two on Alex and Like, and then try and win it on draw rules. But that's gonna be quite a difficult one-off. 3.5 minutes. I don't really see much of an opening for CTR.
No, and I think Sicarios is realizing this as well, right? That CTR might be gambling on the draw rules at this point, and so obviously they're going to reshuffle the positioning of their tanks. They're going to put the lower HPs in the back where it's less likely that they could actually get sniped. They have to be careful though with Miku, who is on a 2-shot. That also means a 2-strike. And, well, if CTR manage to pick up one more and then come out with the info tower from Herman, then Miku is indeed in big trouble. However, CTR not putting all of their eggs into one basket. They send Woodog into the cap now to at least put a little bit of pressure. But with Sicarios building up the nuclear arsenal, that's probably not going to last.
Yeah, no plane for either of the light tanks on Sicarios' side, which is important. It means that they will need to face spot into Woodog. But CTR do need to do something. they can't sit in these positions. They're not going to win by cap, not with the arsenal that Sicarios are building. They're going to get a third strike as well, and there's the fourth one that might be taken by Like there.
Well, first of all, Herman does use the info tower here as Alex peeks into Woodog. A single shot connecting so far. He takes damage from the backlines as well, but the punishment on Woodog is indeed very problematic. 445, that is not a one strike, but regardless, Sicarios, they do have one that they could put on Woodog to reset as well. And Koidicek, he's not going to be happy about that peak.
Yeah, he tried to overpeak to support Woodog, but took a lot in return, sorry. RHM of Mayo not penning into Woodog. That if he penned that, it would have made Woodog a one strikeable. Bear in mind, Alex does still have one strike. He can't take that strike on the low ground. I think he might place his strike, but no Like. It goes from bad to worse for CTR at the moment. A play being made in the south. Alex might go down here for that if Floki can pick that up. The small strike doesn't connect. Floki doesn't connect it either. It's going to need to be Frolly who connects. I think Alex knows his fate is sealed, so he's trying to pick up Alex to do that before he dies. One gun returned, but this is not a winning engagement for Frolly at the moment. It's a Dravik that's above him. The Dravik's gun pressure is not that bad. Click doesn't connect it, but Reject is coming in, and Reject is going to pick this one up. He's going to take a lot of damage for this, even opts to ignore Frolly. Not sure if that was the play, but Loki down to a one-shot, but now 50 seconds left, 3v6. It's all but over for CTR in this one.
Sicarios with more HP, more guns in the game as well. Like is going to swoop in against the CS, a ram to make him a one-shot as well. And yeah, Evo with that Leopard is trying to do what he can. Like actually losing a lot of HP in this engagement, but as soon as Adi with that 50B will be able to swoop in again, then it should be all but over. The strike even by the Leopard 1 missing, and Rishek with the 50B to shut it down. Standing on CTR, and it is Herman after all this time. I mean, he has played a pretty good game here after essentially getting outplayed right at the start. He kept all of his HP. He's going to get a pickup onto Rishek, because with time running out, Sicarios confirm their first victory today.
Yeah, and I think pretty deserved by Sicarios. They always looked a bit in control of this game. Nice, because the thing is that Sicarios had more fighting tanks and long range to play against them. It really struggles for CTR because they had no pushing tanks. But if that was by design by CTR, having the triple 50B hidden there, and then the moment the T100 crosses the threshold of spotting the 50Bs, then the lights put down the plane, they plane the T100, and the 50Bs can peek and shoot the T100 without getting shot in return. If that was by design, that's really high IQ gameplay by Sicarios.
I think it's I think it was by design by Sicarios, but of course you have to keep in mind that only works if the enemy team is actually playing the way that CTR did, right? If they do not, then all of a sudden you have, like, for example, if the enemy team plays heavily 1-2 line or, for example, middle control, then all of a sudden you have a lineup consisting of double light tank, which isn't really that good at fighting, and 3 very flimsy 50Bs plus Dravets and IS-7 that all of a sudden need to play anchors. So, yeah, it worked out beautifully for Sicarios, even though they didn't get the kill pickup onto Herman, which is kind of concerning in itself, but yeah, it was certainly very cool to see.
Well, the 50Bs don't have ability, so it's quite hard, and there's a lot of terrain. It's a bit low ground, 200 is very low. I'm not surprised Herman didn't die, but the thing is, I think even if CTR played that one line, they sent the Dravik over there in the beginning, so what's going to happen is the Dravik is going to anchor on, like, maybe F1, right? That like little balcony. He's going to have 2 50Bs behind him on the red line balcony in their own base. And they're going to have double light tank to make moves. I think Sicarios could foresee a lot of eventualities. I think it's not necessarily that if CTR played one line, Sicarios would be in a problem. I think that they thought of a lot of things if CTR would have played the one line, if they played the field. I think they had a very nice lineup especially with what CTR brought, with no real pushing tanks, and they did it really well. And I mean, yes, there was a mistake by Frantar. I think if Frantar doesn't lose that much HP in the beginning, he's not. Maybe they kill him over time with strikes, but it's going to make for a much easier game. The moment Frantar dies, I think that's the point where CTR are kind of screwed, because that was their one good pushing tank apart from the Type. And Type can't push flanks; it can only really put pressure in the middle.
Well, we find ourselves now in a round number 2 between both of those. And if anything, the fact that it went to a very long game in the past round shows that both teams are not afraid of basically going for this long game and are comfortable with the thought of trying to play it out over time, which of course on Ghost Town is a very useful thing to have and do. Tank bans now. CTR doesn't want for the 50B trap to happen again, so they ban it right out. Sicarios don't want to see the EBR, so this leaves us with triple Dravets, E100, Batchat, K91, and 430U for Sicarios.
Over Type is an interesting choice, but on the CTR lineup, 1 Dravek, 2 Types, 2 CSs, a K91, and a T100. So sticking with the light tank, I think this is going to be a much more difficult game for Sicarios here. They do go back with the Draveks in the beginning to avoid the plane, but
I mean,
having
Herman doesn't even
saves it. Yeah, he saves it. It's
please go ahead.
The fact that they have these triple Draveks, it really kind of forces them to play a cap strap. But the fact that CTR have so many of these strike mediums and the changes, I think that's one of the biggest changes. I think, yes, 430 and 50B getting buffed is massive. Herman uses the plane now, but sees nothing. But the fact that these CSs start with a plane, I think is absolutely huge.
Well, the 430 of Adi getting spotted on the cross now, and this is actually very good for Herman because he was the one spotting it, means he gets another plane to secure himself, but now the Sicarios tactic is starting to become obvious, and that is the move with the triple Dravets plus E100 through the middle. They are going to be met with resistance by the Type 5s, but now Sicarios with a dual-pronged attack, actually tagging Woodog heavily with the mediums that they have on the field. The K91 of Click now advancing towards Herman, who has to move away, but Click getting heavily punished for this as well. So does Woodog, though, who gets absolutely overrun. Sicarios are going to secure the first kill of the game.
Yeah, big mistakes by CTR. They saw the lineup, but they went too close to the sun. Koidi gets caught, Woodog gets caught, Click goes down in the middle, but that's doable. Have to do about 10k. Io can just keep peeking on Frantar. Doesn't connect it though. He needs to connect those shots on this close range, but now they're all peeking, and his cover Frolly just doesn't have the DPM here. Tries to focus out Miku. Ivo doesn't connect it. He's going to start getting clipped in the back from Alex. Small strike coming out. It's not the big one. It's the small strike from the K91. Frantar doesn't connect it to Miku. He goes down, and now as the dust sort of settles, we have a 6. This is a tactic we saw in the previous seasons where BZ's normally boosting over the 7 line, but Sicarios opted to go for Draveks, and the CTR Types were just too close. They weren't able to back away, so Woodog goes down, and Koidacek on that 0 line, he went too far forward and got pounced on by those 430Us. It's not over just yet. They are driving in the open a little bit. A bit of overconfidence here by Sicarios. There's potential here that they pull this back.
I think the problem for CTR here, regardless, is that the T100 of Herman just is not participating really in the game. Yes, he's spotting, but he's not really able to shoot that much. Rishek now, good shot into the K91 of Froley, who does retaliate, but ends up going down. And now with only 2 tanks remaining, I think CTR most important resource in World of Tanks, and that is obviously the guns that you have in the game. Adi here might be going down to Herman, but the problem is that after that there is 3 more tanks for Sicarios. I mean, there is a world here. Increasingly difficult.
Not necessarily. Miku being a one-shot, Floki's just going to rotate to that 1 line, pick up the strike and kill him. I think we've got a long game here. I think this is going to go down to a 2v2 momentarily, and that's not an easy one to win for Sicarios. You know, we've seen instances before when we've had like 1 Type 5 on 4k HP remaining against a light tank that just decaps him over and over and just wins on damage dealt. Herman takes the info. He won't use that one. Oh, he does opt to use that one, actually. I'm surprised he didn't save it. Loki doesn't have a small strike, so the Sicarios are not putting in three cap, and Reject is pressuring that one line, which will deny Floki the strike. Really nice play by Reject, anticipating the play that CTR would make to get this decap in the middle. Loki will go for it, but he will be caught by Reject, but it's no guarantee that Reject wins this 1v1, actually. Ooh, Floki doesn't go for it. That's massive.
We'll have to see how the pathing goes as Reject actually drives in towards the middle. He doesn't expect the flank coming out of the CS. However, cap is an issue at this point in time. Milo gets spotted by, I believe, I'm not even sure, maybe by Herman. Yeah, by Herman in the T100. But now double cap starting to get employed. Reject, however, he is below 900, but that doesn't mean anymore that he is actually too strikeable. 13 seconds remaining, and this is now the problem for the team of Sicarios. If they can put the third tank on the cap, yeah, then the reset actually needs to come from a gun as Herman drives in. He tries to desperately rescue it for his team, but it's not going to be enough. The base has been captured, and this... And here, I think we have to say the biggest problem probably for CTR was A, that the Type 5s were too close, and B, that essentially they were playing a gun down because Herman, deeply committed with that T100, was not able to fire, and even the little contributions that his gun would have made, they didn't happen.
Yeah, in the end game, you saw that shot at the end from Floki missing. That means he doesn't generate a plane. Doesn't generate a strike, sorry, to decap on. I don't think that's the biggest issue, actually. The taps on that 0 line to the 430s and got jumped on. I think Koidacek is further back, and he farms the Dravex pushing. It's fine if the types get jumped on, as long as your team is dealing damage while they're being jumped on. And Koidacek, he went too far on that 0 line, got pounced by the double 430U. And because he dies, all of that crossfire is only on Frolly. And Frolly is a rear turreted tank with not much gun depression to make overpeak. So I think the game was actually lost. It's not nice to say, but lost by Koidacek, just going a bit too close. Herman did play a good game there. They managed to pick up Click going through the middle. Click got some decent damage out, considering he basically exploded, but this was CTR just going too close. We've seen this strat many times. In previous seasons, we saw Hit and Run do it quite a few times with BZs, and it works well initially, because you get like the first kill pretty close, which is what Sicarios did. They got Woo Dog, but then after that there's a lot of open ground and peaks you need to make more kills. But because Koidacek goes down on the 0 line, it's one less piece of crossfire that just means Sicarios can bring it home. So it's a high risk, high reward strat. But yeah, as well, having the T100, if it was an RHM or something like that, this would have probably been a different game. It would have dealt a bit more damage. But I do have to say, I think the blame does lie with Koidacek going a bit too close.
Well, all of this means that now Sicarios have converted their own map pick at the end of the day, and now we're going in towards CTR's territory. I think you could call Ruinberg that at this point, because they have found a lot of success on this map this season, last season already. So leaving it open against CTR is always, I think, an interesting choice if you're not basically banning your own permaban anyway. But yeah, let's see what CTR have cooked up on Ruinberg, because now they are kind of, almost fighting against tournament elimination already. I mean, it is only the 4th day of Phase 1, but this means that after this day concludes, more than half of the matches of this phase will have been played. And here against direct competition, as we outlined at the beginning of the match, they definitely need to make something happen.
Yeah, CTR really needed to try and pick up clean points against Sicario and Lotus. They haven't played Lotus yet, but Sicario's, it is concerning. But let's have a look at the lineups. Sicario's banning the T57, CTR banning the E4, so we might have a heavy type game. Sicario's 1 mouse, triple type, 140, Bliska, and a Fosh. The types are there.
The types indeed are there, especially for CTR with the quintuple. Not sure if Koidacek is still going to change. It doesn't look like he has equipment in that tank. Also, Kranbang would be a weird choice. And indeed, Koidacek goes for the 430U and the 140 together with 5 Type 5s to complete the lineup. On the other side, Sicarios with a little bit less. They're trading it for a bit of burst and DPM, especially with the Bliskavitza. The Mouse also, I'm not sure how much of a nice game this one's going to have, because normally it loses the trades against the types.
Yeah, it's a heavy type game by CTR. We've seen this before. I think Cashback played a heavy type game. Same with Hit and Run when they played each other. I think CTR as well, when they played against... I think this is quite a similar strategy, what CTR are playing, than what they played against Cashback. Floki and the other type behind them, Ivo, I think, are spotted now. So that's Alex who spotted them on the crossing. Strikes traded from both teams. Herman does take a shot. That's the Foch B on that red line. Foch B does struggle against types. It doesn't have that much penetration, so that might be a pressure point that CTR can exploit. But Boydie takes a big one there by Io. And, you know, you really, in a game where you have 5 types, you don't want anything except the type taking hits. And I like this by going for the reload and backing away. I do like this.
Well, he is going to have to reload rather quickly because CTR starting to encroach upon him. Good shot by Click in towards Evo. A rather nice straight Herman taking one more by the 140, which at this point, no, Froley doesn't have any charges here. But yeah, the problem for him is the actually increased HP that the tanks have in Onslaught, because he's not able to fully clip out Froley if he doesn't get, for example, a fire, or a very lucky would be an Onslaught ammo rack. So he needs to be increasingly careful, but the street that Froley still has to cross is the problem for this one, because if he takes damage on the cross, all of a sudden he is a one clip for the 140. They spot each other out. However, actually both of them ending up dealing a shot of damage, which obviously favors the single shot medium tank, but he also has the info now, and Koidicek starts to come. Good strike onto Froley as well. Now, with 5 shells, and that is, on average, 2,000 damage.
Yeah, it's important to say that the tank that's covering at the moment is a Bliskavitza, and a Bliskavitza loses damage on distance, so he might only deal 300-400 on this crossing instead of the 800 he would if he was in their face. So it's not the greatest tank to cover but Like's in a really nice position at the moment. And bear in mind, CTR have bled a non-inconsequential amount of damage. About each of the types has had
Froley.
negative trades against another one as well. Probably this is just not it at the moment. I mean, if they're going to make a move, it kind of needs to be now, because Like is a bit low on shells, but Rizek has come to reinforce. He will be able to spot that crossing. It's going from bad to worse for CTR at the moment. Rizek does take a hit there, I think, by the type. Udo takes one on the crossing, takes another. The bleed. It's now a 4K advantage for Sicarios. It's not looking good for CTR at the moment.
No, especially considering that CTR actually started with more super heavy tanks on their lineup. This means that the trades have absolutely not gone their way, as Ivo in the Type 5 takes another shot, maybe even prompting Click into yet another peek, but Ivo fades away before Click reloads. Is he going to re-peek into this is the question. It's not advisable. He's peeking into multiple guns here, Ivo that is, as Herman has come in the Type 5, and now Koidicek is going to find out that actually did reload the full clip. He even repairs the fuel tank, so that is good for him, but has another shot of damage, and Koidicek goes down. Now Froley has to exploit the reload.
Yeah, he's exploiting the reload, but bear in mind, as it's going on, CTR have a completely full HP type out of game, and because of that, Sicarios, they smell blood in the water. Herman is just pondering around, and while he's doing that, Sicarios are pouncing on these tanks of CTR. Frantar goes down, Floki's already dead, Ivo is next to the grave, and after that, it's Woodog in that central street. You've got to say it. This was a poor showing for CTR, less than what we saw in the previous season. A disappointment, it's got to say. CTR were one of my favorite teams in the previous season. They played very nice, dynamic, aggressive strategies that could catch out some of the big boys. But in this current season, you know, maybe Hit and Run and Mafia are not direct competitors, right? CTR need to be kind of aiming for that middle area, 5th place, maybe pushing into 4th. Right now, they're scraping 6th, maybe even 7th. So it needs to be better by CTR, but a deserved win by Sicarios. and Runeberg.
Yeah, indeed. I think the 3-0 scoreline here definitely outlining who was the better team today. CTR not able to hold a candle to what Sicarios was doing. I think here on Runeberg, even trying to overcook a little bit with the medium rush against the 140. I think that was, against the Foch B. I think that was very, very well played by the Foch B to also then, take the timing windows, recognizing exactly when to reload, when not. Also the individual positioning, revealing when he was Sicarios in the city, of course, able to kind of overwhelm CTR in the connection with the Bliskowitz as well. And yeah, it was just overall well done. And for CTR, it's kind of back to the drawing board. What do we do now? Because whatever they tried today, it certainly wasn't it. And for Sicarios, it just goes from good to better, right? Because the tanks that you want to have the damage dealt on, that is exactly where they come in. The 140 permanently coming in with the Inspire, the Foch B able to get multiple reloads, Adi with that Bliskowitz as well. I mean, all of those tanks will have dealt a lot of damage because, well, there was just so much HP in the battle, but overall, just Sicarios outminding CTR.
After the first stage is over, how many teams go out? Is it one or two? Two. That is concerning for CTR. If it was only one, you'd think that CTR would be able to beat Lotus, but who else are they going to beat? Who else is down there at the bottom with them? It was Sicarios. They need to hope that basically Sicarios lose all their other games, and Sicarios have already played Lotus, and they took points from Lotus, so this is alarm bells for CTR if they want to stay in this competition to the second stage, because Lotus, you can kind of, Lotus are taking the Vulgar spot from the previous season. There's not a high likelihood that they're going to make it to phase 2, but CTR are that team where you'd expect them to at least be contesting for stage 2, but now
currently
they're contesting a 7th place. I think they're on, what, 1 point? Maybe 2?
Yeah, I think 1 point currently, and interestingly enough, they got that one against Hit, I believe, no?
No, it was double. 2-0 on Runeberg, I remember. They went down 2-0, then it was 2-0 on Runeberg, and then they won the last one. I'm not sure. Could have been cashback, even.
Well, I was ready to defend CTR to hold their stronghold on Runeberg, but at least today, Sicarios absolutely able to dismantle it. And this leaves us with the standings where Hit are the smiling first place here. Unbeaten so far when it comes to match wins. That's why they are on the 4 match streak. Mafia in second place here, directly followed though by the team of W, who are only 1 point behind, so starting to make a little bit of a journey back to where they found themselves at the start. Weekend from 2nd to 4th today due to losing against Hit. Cashback still in 5th though, chasing after Weekend. Sicarios on the same amount of points as Cashback, interestingly enough. And well, CTR and Lotus, yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Cashback, I think, being that low is going under the radar a little bit, to be honest. I think it's a concern because Cashback, they're gunning for place 1. They've got Mafia next week. Oh, no, they've got W next week, actually, which is quite a difficult one. CTR have Lotus in the next playday as well. That's important, but it might not be at this point. But either way, Kian, you take it away.
Well, yeah, it actually does conclude the playday of today, but of course that's not all of AMD OLS Season 6. We'll be back on Thursday, same place, same time, twitch.tv/worldoftanks. And of course, you haven't been able to claim the OLS tokens for today. That's why we are going to be raiding Daki, who probably had a little bit of a small break, so he'll be ready to go when we raid him. And that's all. And thank you very much. See you on Thursday.